Good enough can cost you the game, so stop settling. Wifinity is built for real life on base, so you can game without compromise. Posted somewhere new? Take your Wi-Fi with you, no hassle. Get fast, reliable Wi-Fi with Wifinity. Use code BFBS50 to get 50% off the first 3 months.
Paralyze.
welcome back, you beautiful people. We are here for split 2 of season 2 of the BFBS Pro League, and I am joined by an absolutely star-studded roster here. I am here with Psycho. I'm here with Stelios. How are you both doing?
I'm doing brilliantly. It is an absolute pleasure to be back with some very, very familiar faces. Stelios, Affinity, it was an amazing journey last season with the both of you, just sort of exploring the BFBS Pro League for the very first time, of course, when we opened it up to the public and said, we're running Rocket League tournaments for the UK Armed Forces community. This is suddenly a bit of a change of pace because it's not the early beginnings anymore. These are massively established rosters now, and so much history to unpack in such a short amount of time. It's going to be an absolute blessing to go through it with you all again.
Now, let's take a little bit of a look, because of course there's something interesting coming up here that we can say definitively before we even start, and that is that we're going to be crowning a brand new victor, irregardless of what happens throughout this whole tournament, right? So let's talk a little bit through it here, the format first and foremost. Owen, now you've been the mastermind behind this all. For those of you that might not know, Psycho, Owen here is our wonderful League Ops manager. He's the one that's been crafting away. Walk us through your format.
Absolutely. So coming into this season's Pro League, we've switched it up a little bit. And what we've done is we've taken the learnings from last year, and some of those coming from the group stage qualification formats. Was best of 5 previously last year, going towards a best of 3 format this time around. But it is quite a similar principle. Everyone plays through a massive group stage community qualifier to kick things off. But we do have a little bit of a twist this time. We've got 8 invitational slots offered towards UK Armed Forces community teams. So that's 2 slots towards the RAF teams, 2 towards the British Army teams, 2 towards the Navy, 1 towards UK Veterans Gaming, and an extra slot as well for the highest average team MMR outside of those groups, that being 2 of the players who actually made the finals last year, Lion and Ritzy from Resurgence, coming back this time representing the SEA Dragons. So 8 teams qualify through tonight's events and push forward to face those 8 invited teams in the Swiss stage next week. And there'll be a playoffs soon after that, mirroring the RLCS format that everyone knows and loves.
Know it and love it. We do. Now that we've got the format out the way, Stelios, man of the hour, famous from the first Pro League. I got to ask you, you're very involved, very in tune with what's going on with these teams. Who are your just standout picks going into this first and foremost? Who are the teams that you think are going to be front runners for the whole tournament?
Well, off the bat, firstly, good evening, everyone. I hope you're enjoying the content so far. It's going to be a great season. But off the bat as well, having seen the SEA Dragons, I didn't catch, of course, that they would be through to the auto calls, but of course they would be such a quality team that we saw last year. Immediately they go towards the front in my mind. As well as that, of course, I'm obviously seeing a lot of new rosters from all 3 services. I can tell you from personal experience and knowledge that all 3 services have improved. And most notably, of course, the British Army first team, the Buzzards, they'll be definitely one to look out for. The RAF Storm Shadows have had a facelift, shall we say, and also boast a new roster. The Typhoons are looking strong. And I know, of course, the Navy are fielding a much improved team as well. But to answer your question nice and direct, who do I put as front runners? As much as it pains me to say, of course, being in the RAF, I think I've got to pay the respect to the British Army Esports Buzzards. They are boasting an incredible roster this year. And I think on paper, they are definitely front runners to get to the final, maybe even win the whole thing. But of course, Rocket League is not played on paper. You never know. Anybody can beat anybody, especially in this competition.
Now, you've talked about playing Rocket League, what it looks like on paper. There's potentially people watching this that don't know what Rocket League is. They've got friends, they've got families, they've got lovers playing in this league, and they need to know a little bit about what is Rocket League. Can you dumb it down layman's term for us, Psycho? Explain it in a sentence. What is Rocket League?
Well, if you've ever touched an RC car before, an RC plane, it's a very similar thing to that, actually. Typically played with a controller. What you need to do is control your car, every single element of it, the pitch, the angle of your car, the movement of it, to try and make sure you're positioning that car in the right way to hit the ball. And it's quite simply outscore your opponent. It is a very simple game on paper, but it's so difficult to control sort of the minute mechanics of the game. And I think it's really, really important to stress that, you know, if this is your first time watching, don't fret, because give it 5 minutes and you'll know exactly what it's all about.
Exactly. Talking about what it's all about, we've got the graphic, and that's what we're all about today, to look at the teams that are playing, the matches that we're going to be seeing coming up here. Group A and Group B. Stelios, does any of these groups stand out as the group of death? Is there one that you're looking at and going, I would rather not be in that group? Which is the group of death?
For me, it's Group A. Group A, and that's simply because the RAF Storm Shadows are only recently the RAF Storm Shadows, having beaten the former RAF Storm Shadows. So they are going to be incredibly tough to beat in that Group A. The Merlins as well, sure, ranked 4th seed, but I know, again, from experience, they boast some quality talent on their roster. You know, any army team is a threat. And with, of course, their new 4th-strength roster in the Buzzards, it means that a lot of their good players have filtered down into their 2nd, 3rd, and even 4th roster now. So all their teams are looking pretty solid. And when you put the Merlins alongside the Shadows, the RAF Harriers, who are one of the newer RAF rosters, who are also performing pretty well as well in the RAF rankings, it really makes it exciting. Of course, the Navy Serpents and the Navy Hammerheads have their work cut out for them. But I think a few people will be surprised by how they perform as well, given what I've seen anyway behind the scenes in their prep for the BFBS Pro League, and indeed for their prep for Inter-Service Qualifier 1 that just happened. So all 6 of those teams in that Group A can easily do some damage to each other. Of course, Storm Shadows will be favourites there, but even Group B is not an easy one at that as well.
Now, something I'm seeing a lot of is Dennis. I'm seeing a lot of RAF teams, and almost doubled, if not more, in number since last year. What has been going on behind the scenes to foster this then?
A bit of luck, realistically. I mean, we've been around now as the RAF Storm Shadows community for just over 4 years, I believe, and you know, it's a lot of hard work to get events going, to get to get loads of things happening that all teams of all skills in our rosters can get involved in. And we are lucky that although we work hard as game leads to make that happen, that we have a community, you know, not that extends past the rosters as well, the 8 rosters that we do have, and that are willing to put their own time and effort outside of working hours to make sure that, you know, the effort that we're putting in as game leads is matched. And that's the answer. You know, they invest their time and they're invested in the storyline that we've built in the RAF Storm Shadows community just as much as myself and Cedric are as game leads. So the answer is luck and having a wonderful community that continues to buy into what we do. And of course, people like yourselves at BFBS who put on events that we can participate in. It's a dream team scenario, really.
Yeah, we have been incredibly lucky with all of you showing up and showing your support and just getting so involved. But talked a little bit about the RAF. We've got to switch our tune here. BAEs, we've got a derby to kick us off. We have the BAEs Kestrels versus the Sparrowhawks. Psycho, talk me through any players here that particularly stand out, anybody that you're really leaning towards, because we've talked about both of these teams a little bit now. What are we expecting from this matchup specifically? Yeah,
so very similar to what was alluded to. British Army Esports, generally speaking, have just come leaps and bounds with their roster progression. This season, I think the headline news has to be the ex-FC Barcelona / Paris Saint-Germain / Guild Esports player, Bluey, who you will recognise from the World Championship. I believe Season 4 made a major all those time ago. He's filtered into those top rosters, and that means lots of quality is moving further down the pecking order. And I would look at this Kestrels team for this first match, and usually I'd look at them and think, yeah, they should be in the invited slot to be pushed through to the Swiss stage. But this time around, they're lurking around trying to do it the hard way through the community qualifiers. They are such a strong roster. JDN, Padster, and Mitch. JDN and Padster you'll recognise from the BAE's Falcons from last year's finals. Those two are not to be messed around with whatsoever. Brilliant talents in their own respects. JDN, a more calm, cool, collected sort of play style. Padster, explosive, full of energy on the pitch. And Mitch, a new pickup who I'm yet to see and really, really excited by. On the other hand, Sparrowhawks, we've got Zero, Vortexa, Dr. Grimm, Alimov005, and Sam Patty 10. Now, a lot of those talents are completely fresh. Dr. Grimm, Alimov, and Sam Patty, again, I've not seen on the field before, and I believe have only been picked up in the recent weeks leading up to this competition. But Vortexa and Zero, we know both of those guys very, very well. Zero, again, explosive, full of energy on the pitch. And Vortexa, well, he's made some headline news himself for other reasons. I believe winning a Churchill Award, so a massive congratulations to him for all of what he's doing for his own service, and a real achievement for himself. But nonetheless, I think it's going to be a bit one-sided. I do think Kestrels are coming into this the favourites, but it is a best of three, and I think out of everyone here, Stelios knows how much that can play a part in the results.
Stelios, do you want to talk to us about why these best of threes can be maybe volatile is the word?
Absolutely. I mean, having coached in RLCS for a while now, I think the old format for RLCS used to be best of threes in, I think it was day one, and it would throw the odd upset here or there. You know, there isn't time to make a lot of mistakes. You know, you get a game on and suddenly you make one mistake and you're 1-0 down in the series, and all of a sudden you're facing match point already, and it can become a real mental battle. So the early stages of the first game are going to be very interesting. Do both teams sit and wait for each other to make a mistake, or does one of the two teams go for it and trying to extend the lead and really put the other team on the back foot? You know, it's an army derby as well. They know each other very, very well. I can also vouch for Alimov. I've seen him before in one of the inter-service fixtures a long time ago. I know he's been around. I know he'll expect. I know that he'll be ready for what to expect in a game like this, in a scenario like this, on stream like this, because he's been there and done that. You know, and I've seen his name ages ago. So I think for that, I think is it the Merlin? Yes, for the Merlins team, that is a valuable asset to have. Zero as well at the last inter-services had a very good tournament. So, you know, the best of three, I think it suits the Merlins more. If they can get a lead, it will maybe even will shock. The Kestrels. Sorry, it maybe even will shock the Kestrels into trying to chase the series, chase a game, which will only open up more gaps for the Sparrowhawks to exploit.
Now, I'm going to ask Stelios, you've been on all fronts here. We've seen you playing, we've seen you coaching, we've seen you managing, we've seen we've seen it all. Have you had the pleasure, or depending on how good they've been, the displeasure of going up against any of these people personally? And can you attest to them?
I can. I actually, I mean, the two rosters that I've played most recently, the Buzzards and the Falcons, are through to next week at the Auto Call spots, and those are the ones that I most recently have played against. And again, two quality rosters inflicting pretty heavy defeats on me, which I'm not going to lie, it did hurt. Great players though, and also great guys. And having competed also against Zero and watched Zero play as well, I know they possess quality, they possess flair. I strictly remember Zero being a pretty flairful player, pretty mechanical. So if he can get on the ball early, buy himself some time, get his team up the pitch, and apply pressure to this Merlin side, I think there is an opening for them. But as Owen will be able to tell you as well, you've got to take your chances, especially in a best of three, because you won't get many, especially first game on stream, especially first game of the season here at the Pro League Season 2. I think it's gonna be few and far in between for the Sparrowhawks, so they've really got to make it count. But make no mistake, they are perfectly capable of springing an upset if the Merlins don't take them seriously.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think everything can happen, Stelios, and that is just the nature of a best of three and how tough the competition is. But just to sort of quickly bring up the games that are going on as well as this at the same time, this round one is a bit of a it's a bit of a warm-up, should we say, for all teams, I've got to say. Because this is probably the most sort of one-sided round of all of the group stage matches we're going to have. So we've got RF Storm Shadows versus RF Harriers, BAE's Merlins, RN Serpents, RF Shadows, RN Hammerheads, and RF Mustangs, RF Tornadoes, and finally RF Hurricanes, Lozzie Phantoms. So all of these, I think you can look at on paper and think there is a definite winner to emerge from this, but I think that's actually a really nice way to sort of get people comfortable, because they might be going into games thinking, oh yeah, we're going to win this, we're going to lose this, we're going to warm up. That's ultimately what they're going to be looking at for this round one. But boy, does it get tougher later on in the day.
Yeah, I think good warm up there. And who knows, upsets early on, an upset in round one could be exactly what some of these teams need to stake their claim early to get themselves, what are the names that we're talking about? Because with this number of teams, everyone gets a little bit of love, but some teams we definitely angle towards a little bit more. Surefire way to get your name in the spotlight is an early upset in round one. Put you in good standings, put you in good mental going on forward here. But how it's going to work today, we have this first match up. We then will have 4 more games on stream, 4 more rounds going on. We'll be following through all the action. We're going to stay the same 3 people walking through all of the action tonight as well. And this is, of course, only day 1 of only week 1 as well. There's plenty still to go. And whilst we're here as well, remember to start looking ahead, putting in your calendars, because that big grand final is coming up in only a couple of months. And, well, I mean, we haven't even started the games, and I already know that you're not going to want to miss it. Are there any sort of final points that you guys want to bring up about either of these teams going into the first matchup?
Yes.
I think.
Oh, that
Go
was
ahead,
quick,
Stel.
Elios.
Go ahead, Stel.
Yeah.
You jumped the buzzer. You're straight in there. I want to hear it.
I had my finger on it. No, actually, it's just a bit of an apology. I will get it right. It is Sparrowhawks versus Kestrels in this first game. I wanted to pay that respect to the players. And yeah, I wanted to get that right and assure you that we'll be getting that right for the remainder of this series. But also a further shout out to both these two army teams. Again, as you quite rightly pointed out, Owen, the quality filtering down nicely in that army roster, army service now. So like they're beginning to get a lot more depth in their rosters, which will only raise the level of competition for all teams involved across all 3 services, and of course all these civilian teams involved in this tournament as well. So positive signs for the army, and I'll be interested to see actually if this one does end up being one-sided or not.
Psycho, what was it you wanted to add? Because you got beaten too there. Stelios was lightning quick. That's why he's so good on the pitch. Reactions like that are immaculate. What was it that you were going to add then?
Well, all I was going to say is there are a couple of players to watch out for, I think, in this particular match. Zero, you have to keep an eye on because he is so quick and disruptive with the way he plays. And on the opposing end for the Kestrels, I think you always have to look at Padster to deliver the same sort of presence on the opposite side. Those are the 2 players we're going to be seeing highlights from. I have absolutely no doubts, but I do believe we've got some players ready to go.
Well then, in that case, I am going to leave this match in you two's wonderful hands, and I'll see you on the other side of the best of 3.
Well, thank you very much. We do indeed have everyone raring and ready to go. This is the British Army Esports Sparrowhawks versus the British Army Esports Kestrels in the blue. As we've alluded to, not long at all for these teams to sort of pick each other apart and figure out where to go from there, Stel.
No, not a lot of time at all. The best of 3 format is not very forgiving, and there have been some extremely good teams on the professional end of Rocket League in the previous RSS format gone by that have fallen foul of it. So neither of these 2 teams can really afford to make that mistake. It's all about a solid start, getting a few touches on the ball, making sure those nerves dissipate and dissipate fast. Because if you don't, you could be punished very, very quickly.
So, and Padster is going to try and drive forwards, and a interestingly named player 5 on the blue side to round out that roster. That is, of course, Mitch, the new player for the British Army Esports Kestrels. But no goal just yet. I think I got that wrong, Steph.
Fastest curse this early in Pro League Season 2. Who would have thought it? But a great touch by Mitch. Infield towards JDN, who beat the first man there and finds the back of the net, rifles it low into the bottom right. And the Army Esports Kestrels have a good early lead. And as we spoke about, Owen, this is going to be crucial moments now for the Sparrowhawks. Can they find a way back into the game quickly, or are they just going to get peppered now, as we see here, for a potential second for the Kestrels? A good flick by Mitch. He goes, and Zero clears the ball.
Close, but not quite enough. But all the pressure being cemented at the moment by the Kestrels, who scored the inaugural goal of the BFBS Pro League Season 2, or at least within stream games. Well, that's another ripper put on target, this time by Padster, and unfortunately Sparrowhawks just can't get their mitts on that.
Once again, a phenomenal finish. The right-hand side of the penalty area, just outside it, in that right-hand side corner. Had some goal to aim at, to be fair to him, but it's an easier finish than it might have looked on screens. Sorry, it's a harder finish than it might have looked on screens. You can easily rifle that one over the bar if you're not careful. That's a great effort again from Mitch. Meets the ball early, 3-0, and already looking like game done realistically. Not even halfway through here for the Sparrowhawks if they can't find a response and find one quick.
Yeah, that is an absolute ripper of a shot towards that top right corner from a player that myself and you are just sort of getting to know a little bit now. And I do think in terms of the individual capabilities shown by the tracker links that we use to see this competition, he is coming up as sort of a GC3 give or take sort of talent. And I do think that is sort of, you know, top end of what British Army Esports has to offer outside of their first team. So yeah, really, really interested to see where he goes from here.
And yet here he is in arguably, well, I guess on paper, the third team for the British Army Esports, esports scene, and that in itself shows you the depth of Service Rocket League now, and that is repeated, of course, in the RAF and also in the Navy, also building up some rosters like that as well. So, and you can see what Pro League Season 1 has sort of spiked over the last year, and in terms of competition and sheer ability now on display, it is getting up there. And Mitch again, creeping in, just creeping up the pitch. And it was Vortex who couldn't cut back into the ball. And on low boost as well, keeping his momentum. A phenomenal finish by Mitch, making it 4. And the Sparrowhawks really up against it now.
Yeah, and it was a nice idea from Vortex just to try and keep the ball safe to the side, but it was a bump that came through. He got the demo, but it still disrupted him enough to really spell a bit of disaster on the end of the Sparrowhawks, but they're still sort of, you know, finding their footing here as Zero's now going to step forward and poke one towards the backboard. JDN to read it off in the corner. Has plenty of boost to do it all by himself as he runs forward, but nice little interception from that player of old, Ali Mob.
They need a goal, they need something, they need a deflected effort that just finds its way in, they need a post crossbar down into the back of the net, they need something to the Sparrowhawks side just to kick them into life. You can see they have moments, you can see they have some nice touches, but at the moment they're unable to get any real sustained pressure on this Kestrel's net, who are doing a phenomenal job defending it, but it might drop here for Alimov, who crept and lurked in the penalty area dangerously there, but it was away by Pasta, who just removed all hope for that one to result in a shot on goal. There will be maybe a chance here for Zero. Beats JDN, who does get a tip just wide of the mark.
It's a nice little lift up high from Mitch, and it's so awkward for Zero to put this one towards safety. Padster tucks it in, but it's just wide of the corner. Now Alimov to shuffle his way forwards. Just prods it towards the target, but Mitch is there to cover. Alimov once again spikes that ball down. Surely that's a wide open net for Padster. We saw his quality in recent times in the competitions, which was into service towards the tail end of last year, just after the Pro League and, of course, the Pro League itself. He is a goal machine, and he's got a second to his tally.
Zero, Alimov, and Vortex really up against it now. You quite rightly called this in being a one-sided affair, Psycho, and on the current evidence, that is what we are seeing. But I do think 5 is a little bit harsh here on the Sparrowhawks. They just haven't found the rhythm yet. And as we quite rightly stated at the start of the series, as Lena pointed out, is the best of 3 series, and it's gonna punish the Sparrowhawks here because they don't have the time to now gather their thoughts and reassess almost. No time for a timeout. It's just gonna be straight back into facing a match point, and that can be devastating mentally to go into a game after losing potentially 5, maybe 6-0 as well if the another. It's all about, once again, the start of the next game. If they don't concede early, if they can just find some magic, which they do there, to be fair, through Vortex. Great pass as well by Zero, who did all the hard work, just drops it down through his left. Vortex sneaking in past Padster, and they do have liftoff. They do show signs of life. And if they can continue that into the next game, Owen, then we might be in for a bit of a closer game 2.
It's a phenomenal finish from, in the grand scheme of things, a player who on paper you'd think is outmatched here has done a very, very good job of poking that towards net as Ali Mob. Just brings pushes that ball towards the backboard. Mitch for a solo play chance, and we get to see some of his mechanical flair, and I can already tell he's got a bit more of that than I do currently. That's positive signs for the Kestrels as Padster then pushes that ball forwards, and it's victory laps in game one. Padster maybe for one last attempt, but it's going to be Kestrels to take game one, and potentially just one more game left in this series still.
Indeed, it's a great start for the Kestrels, and there's some clear talent there. But for the Sparrowhawks, they'll feel at least somewhat good about how that game ended. And they did get the last goal. As you can see on your screens as well, you know, a couple of saves and 3 shots realistically at the Kestrels' net. At least one of them went in. At least they have a bit of confidence to take. They scored the last goal, and it's something. It's something to work with, rather than it being a shutout. I wouldn't say it's an entirely different mental battle now going into game 2, but they got something to latch onto. Now, Psycho, if they can resist conceding here in the first 2 minutes and suddenly sneak a goal, well, Kestrels might not expect it. They might be on the back foot themselves. But on the evidence of the first game, 5-1, it's pretty convincing. And with what we've seen from the likes of Mitch and even JDN, who pops up with that opening goal with a brilliant finish, it's hard to see it going any other way. But I'm here to be proved wrong.
It may seem written in the stars already, but, well, we saw some of the more one-sided matches, shall we say, in the BFBS Pro League Grand Finals last year. It was the likes of the Sparrowhawks back then to give us a really close game. I believe it was the 2nd versus 7th seed that Sparrowhawks were back then, and they really did take it, well, seriously close in terms of the games. I do believe it was a sweep outright, but just in terms of the games, one by one, they gave us action, they gave us entertainment, and they gave us grit and determination.
They did, and that is I think fair to say, the spirit of BFBS Pro League, and hopefully what we will live on to witness and experience live at the LAN finals towards the end of September. So as Nina quite rightly said, get that in your calendars, mark it down, you don't want to miss it, as Alimov brings us to the first attack of the game for the Sparrowhawks. And it's actually not a bad one. It resulted in a good shot, and they have resisted, Psycho. They have resisted this first minute pretty well as well, and they have a chance. Vortex one-on-one. Pastor comes across, those sweeps it up. JDM plays it back in towards Pastor, who didn't get the shot. The shot from Vortex missed as well, and Pastor able to bring the ball away again.
Vortexer up nicely to chip that ball down, and he's found a teammate in the right colour. Here comes Vortexer again in the corner to give a bit of pressure. Ali Mov now into the mix. Pastor looks a little uncomfortable. Just has to do with throwing that ball back to orange hands as the pressure well and truly sustained in the corner now. 100 boost being stolen away from the play. As here comes Zero. Ali Mov hunting for the bump, but it's just down off the crossbar. Surely there's going to be someone to get there, and it's Ali Mov to put away the opening goal of game 2.
And it's a different dynamic now. As I said, this goal changes things. And if they can resist for a further 30 seconds, suddenly that clock looks a little bit closer to 0. And suddenly the Kestrels will start to feel it. As of right now, they won't be panicked. They'll know they have all the pressure, all the talent, all the time in the world to bring it back. But if they can resist, and if they can hold, and if they can be stubborn and just rotate well, and be solid overall, you never know. The JDN comes forward, shot on goal. It will land off the backboard. It's there, away off the post. Mitch, it's the crossbar and away. Zero flicks it away, and still the pressure comes. But the Kestrels knocking at the door, and right now, there's no answer.
JDN's going to leave that through to Badster, and he's just going to go straight up. But Vortexer has him read like a book, and there's the Zero on the backboard looking a little more awkward, it has to be said. Good block away from Vortexer, that definitely saved away that goal from the jaws of death. Now we're approaching, we're just past halfway in this game number 2 now. British Army Esports Kestrels, they look in control, they look like they're going to find one. It's a great recovery to follow off of that chance, and Mitch sweeping up so quickly there.
Clinical finish by Mitch, and had that not gone in, I think the pressure would have been broken. I don't think there was the third man was close enough to follow that one up, from what I saw, at least from my spectator POV. So that chance, they had to make the most of it, and they did. That's a horrible bounce, and Zero will miss it as well. Pastor goes up for it, drops it down, and up goes Mitch. Some right, clinical again, and it's 2-1. And as quickly as they went in front, they find themselves behind once more. and have to work extra hard now to make a fight of this. But for the Kestrels, more of the same in the last 2 minutes, and they're home and dry with a 100% record here in their first series.
I think it's just raw mechanical quality that has sort of pushed them that goal advantage now. Is just on an individual level, they're able to get up to those balls just a little bit quicker, a little bit more cleanly, and get that pace on those touches. As Vortex now darting down the wing, tries to just shuffle it in field quickly. It's a great idea. Unfortunately, no contact found. Zero, lovely bit of control of his car to get around that awkward ball. Now Vortexa in the 1v1. He's been a real highlight this game, I must say, and it's another big chance, but no contact found. Maybe trying to opt for a dunk, just thinking surely the defense has to get there.
Thought Vortexa will be cutting all over that and just getting a touch on it, but he chose to trust the second man, who unfortunately had a bit of a whiff. And it was a dangerous chance to equalise as well, and a good one. It was well crafted, but instead it's the Kestrels who maintain their lead. Mitch goes coast to coast. Alimov clears. Maybe should have been to his left. JDM will follow up. Alimov leaves it, and here comes Zero. Can he provide the mechanical flex? A great demo, and Mitch has to save the day again. And it's only as far as Vortex are off the ceiling and down. Mitch will control and will provide some level of relief now for his teammates as he goes for a musty downfield, and it ends up in the Sparrowhawks corner.
Alimov looks awkward, but it's a great touch to keep that ball away. Another shot from JDN towards the top left doesn't find its mark, and there is still a little bit of hope left for the Sparrowhawks. These games can be important at the end of a group stage. Of course, game difference is a factor. If you ever find yourself in that uncomfortable position where you need that sort of tie-break advantage, but Mitch is going to sort of cast away those bits of hope.
Well, I did say it'd be an awkward game if the Sparrowhawks managed to bag that first goal after not conceding for a couple of minutes, and exactly that happened. It was a much better performance from them. They created chances, and had they been a bit more clinical, I think this result could have been slightly different. Nevertheless, the Kestrels still had to be clinical in their own gameplay, and be calm under that pressure of being 1-0 down, which would have been a new feeling for some of those players, well, mainly, of course, Mitch, who we haven't seen before, who's turned out to be the star player for this Kestrel side. And for them, long may his performances continue to be that good, and they have a real chance of going very far in this tournament.
Absolutely, but full credit to the Sparrowhawks for how they've stepped up in this particular game. But British Army Esports Kestrels are going to be your Series 1 winners. That is first game wrapped up, but there is still plenty more yet to come. British Army Esports Kestrels, they showed why they're one of the top dogs within the British Army Esports ranks. And Sparrowhawks, I have to say, I was really, really impressed.
As was I. What a way to kick ourselves off here. Glimmers of hope. And what we have a saying, some of us here at the BFBS team, we're a little bit FPS nerds. We have something called the French timeout, which is where you have an eco round and you use your eco round to have a bit of a discussion. Do we feel maybe towards at the end of that first game, they were using that as a bit of an opportunity to plan ahead? Because they came into that second set looking really strong.
I mean, I think Stell's the one to turn to there. I think he's been in many a situation as a professional RLCS coach as well, coaching some of the best teams in Europe during those 60 seconds. Yeah. What do you think?
Stop it, you're too kind. Oh yeah, I think you saw the light in my eyes there, didn't you, Owen? Well, the truth is, yes, that is exactly some of the things as a sports psychologist / mental coach for the teams that I do work with. That is a genuine thing. If the game's gone, there's no point exerting more mental energy at it, at trying to recover it. You know, there's always the odd chance that you get 2 or 3 kickoff goals chained, but it's a very unlikely series of events, and it's very unlikely that will happen, especially with 30 seconds left, a minute left. Sometimes you just gotta let it go, and as you quite rightly stated, and which we do in professional Rocket League as well, you just recover. Sometimes I even say to the teams, split the game in half even. Let's win this last minute. And if we can win the last minute 1-0, all of a sudden in our heads, at least from a psychological perspective, we have a bit of momentum to take forward into the next game. Okay, we won that last minute. Whereas if you continue to chase the game and chase and exert mental energy at the trying to break down a 4-0 lead with a minute to go, you're only harming yourself. So definitely very well picked up, and something that is for sure used in professional Rocket League that these players may have also picked up on themselves.
Now, what we're going to do is we're going to head into a short couple of minute break because, as we said, we have got back to back to back to back to back series today. And next up, we are going to be continuing on with our theme of BAEs. We've got the BAEs Merlins versus the RAF Shadows coming up very shortly. But we're going to head to a short little bit of break and get that game ready for you wonderful people at home.
Out here, every millisecond counts. And in here, every millisecond counts too. Never let delays ruin the action.
Upgrade your Wi-Fi to Wi-Finity. Use code BFBS.
Hello and welcome back. We hope you enjoyed your couple of minutes break because, well, that's all the break you're going to get. We are right back into the action, as we said, BAE's Merlins versus RAF Shadows coming up next. Now, I'm going to give you each a team. It would be wrong of me not to give you the RAF Shadows here. Stelios Psychos, the Merlins. I'm going to ask you first, Stelios, who are your players to watch on this team? What is sort of the play style? Give us something to go into this match with, to keep an eye on.
Well, you are looking at, quite frankly, one of the most historic rosters we have in the entire Royal Air Force. Now, the Shadows have been around longer than I have in the RF Rocket League scene, notably El Curtinio and the Grey Man, or as I like to call him, Steve the Deal. Two veteran players, you know, guys with very serious lives who have found the time to grind up together over years now of gameplay, and it's been honestly so rewarding to watch them grow as a team. But alongside them, Asher, who Psycho will know very, very well, a very talented player and a good signing for the Shadows this last couple of months. He's settled in there very well, a very quick player, very mechanical player, and very aggressive as well. And alongside him as well, to make up the fourth man on that roster, is a player going by the name of LW, who is Logan. Again, very techie, very mechanical, very flairful. And alongside the sort of solid, consistent play that El Curtinio and the Grey Man can bring, I think it's quite a formidable matchup. But of course, the Merlins may have something to say about that.
And Psycho, the Merlins, what have they got to do? Because we just hyped up the Shadows. I don't think we could get more glowing praise here from Stelios if we tried. What do the Merlins have to do? What are their win conditions here if they even want to look at this series? I think you're muted, Owen. Do you want to try that again from the top?
Can you hear us?
There we go.
There we go. Celebrations. Rejoice.
the
I have
top.
a voice. I've got a voice, people.
I'm proud of you. Well done.
What I
Now,
said about the British Army Esports Merlins, I just thought, you know what? I'm just not going to talk. That's the way it was. You don't need an input here because I think it speaks for itself. Stelios was mentioning the veteran sort of nature of the players on the Shadows roster. Well, it also seems as if Merlins have that themselves as well. Ishak is definitely the star man for me to watch on that roster. Someone that Stelios will know very, very well as being a difficult player to get to grips with over many, many years as well. Jonesy on that team as well, and Flux Deadly rounding out the Merlins roster. Now, Flux Deadly and Jonesy are a bit more of sort of a question mark in my mind, but just in terms of the seeding alone going into this competition, they are very, very close. On paper, they're 4th and 5th seeds respectively. British Army Esports Merlins have actually eked it out in terms of the average MMR by quite a significant distance. I think it's around 75 odd MMR between the two teams. So it is a chunky number, but that is all on paper. And what we're really interested on, Stel, is what happens on the pitch.
Maybe a tough one to call, I think. Obviously, the RFNE will say the Shadows can take this, but there is some real quality on that Merlin side. Ishak, of course, as we all very well know, has a freestyler background, and that means he has some pretty insane mechanics up his sleeve. I can't say I've seen too much of Jonesy and Flux, but they're there for a reason. You know, they would have proven themselves in some way. Fezzy would not have picked players that he doesn't believe in. And so on that note, I think it's time, realistically, to see what these two teams have to offer in this series. It's going to be very close.
Now that's starting to sound like we've got players in the lobby. Are we ready to go, you two?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Let's do it.
Who am I to hold you back? Take it away once again.
Well, welcome everybody to your second series of the day. This is one of the closest matches you're going to see all evening long. RAF Shadows in the 5th seed position versus the British Army Esports Merlins just up above them in the 4th seed position. Now, these two teams will be really battling it out. They've both swept their first series of the day, so they're right towards the tippy top end of their groups. Goodness knows where they might go from here.
And here we go then. LW, or I'm going to call him Loganus as I know him, catching the ball off the backboard already. Greyman and Asher combining to pinch that one clear. Jonesy with some work to do here. Awkward little touch infield. Actually, it's a nice little flick towards Ishak, who brings the ball away now. Asher has to make an awkward cut of his own. 1-on-1 with Logan as Ishak almost gets the bump as well, but Logan able to bring the ball away.
That's a nice little dink up from the grey man as Jonesy is going to filter the ball to the side. It's a little bit awkward and LW is going to stride forward. And to me, Stel, and this might be a bit of a controversial opinion, I'm not sure, but he is the star man for the RAF Shadows, and we've seen his performance lately in competitions such as the Inter-Service 1v1, where he made the top 4 kind of against all odds, really, and really gave it a battle towards the top end of the competition. He's an incredibly intelligent player. He knows where to position himself and what to do, and his situational awareness is right up there, so I think you have to give him some respect as well. That's a lovely little touch from Asher, though, to get this blue side underway.
Can't agree with you more, Psycho, on that. And he's a very intelligent player, and he plays with his mind. You know, it's all well and good being intelligent, but if you can't apply it in certain scenarios, I think you're in trouble. But luckily with Logan, he does. And in that the ones tournament at the Inter-Services, it's a real chance to display intelligent play, because you make a mistake and there's no one else to blame but yourself. You've got to be mentally strong, but you also got to play it like a chess game sometimes. You know, it's about managing your moves, it's about managing where you put the ball. And it translates nicely for him into threes as well. He fits into this team really quite nicely as Ash makes a bit of a mistake, and Jonesy forcing it home at the near post. The grey man couldn't keep it out, and as quickly as the Shadows score, they also concede.
Yeah, and I hate to say it still, it's an absolute howler from Asher at the front post there, as I think he's just caught in between two minds. Do I face forwards? Do I face backwards? How do I approach this ball? And he's just got it a little bit wrong here, but hey-ho, it's early doors.
Indeed, but the Merlins coming straight back on the offensive. Almost back in a second there early. Ishak keeping the pressure alive. Jonesy won't turn on this. He'll leave it for his teammate to cut back in. The grey man looks infield to Asher. Asher with a good shot. Flux deadly. Cuts back in for the save. It's going to bounce awkwardly high. Goes Ishak. Nice soft touch away to his left-hand side. Can he meet it as well for the second time? No, he can't. And the grey man, one-on-one with Flux deadly. Can he go over top of him? He can. Brilliant save. Asher follows up on it. Infield it goes towards LW, who drops it down. Pushes there for a bump. And Flux deadly away.
Into the corner, and LW well positioned to deal with that soft drop down as LW once again on the ball now. 1v1 situation. Is he going to try and rip one? No. Ishak to dart across very nicely there, as there's plenty of numbers at the back now for the BAE's Merlins to stride forwards from. There's now Flux deadly. That third man position, putting that towards goal, but just no power on the finish there still.
Got that time, but they still come forward. Ishak launches it towards the back post, dangerously flashes past the back post as well. There was, I think it was Flux just storming in, but it didn't make connection as he would have liked, and the grey man will come forward now, off the right-hand side wall. Has he got a pre-clip in? And he has, and it's flashed across the face of goal once again. The Merlins survive, and Asher brings it into the penalty area. That's a good bump as well on Flux, but it's a double commit, and actually works in their favour somehow. And the grey man and the RAF Shadows 2-1 up now with just under 2 minutes to play.
Smart play again from LW, just lurking in field as there's two defenders trying to wrap round the corner infield towards goal. And there is one lesson that you always have to listen to: never go across goal.
Not just in Rocket League, but also in football, where, of course, this beautiful game is based off of. As Flux deadly, beautiful touch, lobs it over the grey man. Ishak one-on-one temporarily with LW. Controls it nicely, though, with limited boost, just pinches it away. And that's the kind of intelligence that we see from Logan. The ability to buy his team time when they have low boost, just to knock the ball away. Sometimes you just need to bang the ball on and let your team gather their momentum, their boost, and come for an attack. It's 2-1 though, and this game finally poised. Merlins showing that they have threat, showing their capacity to score, but right now they're also proving their capacity to defend wave after wave of Shadow's attacks. And there is a bang down film from Flux. Can Ishak pressure? He can. He's down. It's in the right-hand side corner, and Ishak out of nowhere blesses the Merlins with a wonderfully timed challenge, and it's 2-2.
It's a gorgeous poach, and LW thought he has all the time in the world to sort of drag forward the opposition there, but I do also notice an unfortunate flash of bad luck for LW. His ping was going through the roof on that touch. I think unfortunately it just came to haunt him there still.
He may not be the biggest fan of the station he's currently at. But that is the nature of the beast. That is military Rocket League. Sometimes you can be impacted by ping. However, there is a chance for him. Low ping that time, and the shot just over the bar. A dangerous opportunity. Somewhat wasted, I must say. Jonesy clears. Ishak has to follow up again, and you can see here, Psycho, it's constant Shadow's pressure. There's another shot. Asher at the far post, and Ishak just touches it away, swats the effort away, and he'll bring the Merlins the defensive third with a nice 50. Smart play by Ishak, and now they go and try and win it.
It's a little bit awkward, and Jonesy's going to be there to push as Flux deadly now off the backboard, but no follow-up quick enough as that ball's lofted high. Ishak with 10 seconds left to try and drop this one down. It's a counter-attack chance now for Asher. Spews it into the middle, actually gets the dunk down on that ball, but we are going to see OT here, and hopefully no more disaster for the RAF Shadows. They're unfortunate to concede that second potentially, but Ishak's got all the control in the world. A very equal block to match it.
Who will be the first fatality of overtime in the BFBS Pro League Season 2, and it will be the Army Esports Merlins who fall foul of it. Jonesy just a little bit too pushed up, challenged by Asher, and it was also a double commit from Flux as well. It meant Asher's second touch was simply rolling it home into the back of the empty Merlins net, and the RAF Shadows take game one. And as we pointed out on numerous occasions today already, it's a big mental win for them. Do they have now the composure the nous, the clinicality to take advantage of this lead, and both in the series and both mentally. Time will tell, of course, but with Kurt behind them as the captain, as almost a coach at times, I'm confident he can deliver the words right now in the 60 seconds to make sure they start off on the right foot. For the Merlins, Psycho, not a lot realistically went wrong for them. Maybe just need to create a little bit more in attack.
Yeah, I think they were struggling to find really convincing, meaningful opportunities. And I think that is just the nature of the Shadows, isn't it? And their sort of more defensively minded play style they've got about them. They love to play on the counter. They love to play from the back, really, and make sure that the positioning is priority number one. Make sure the rotations are clean and smooth. And you look at the likes of the British Army Esports Merlins, and they've sort of got a slightly different approach maybe. They're going all guns blazing to find those opportunities, leaving themselves a little bit more exposed. But nonetheless, such a close game one.
Yeah, and this Merlin side, they're not afraid. They're not afraid of being 1-0 down and you know, almost shutting up shop and doing damage limitation. No, that's not their game. As you quite rightly pointed out, they want to find the goals. They want to launch attacks. They want to go for bumps. Sadly for them, it hasn't connected, you know, often in that first game. But they you know, they've shown that they can do it. They've shown that they possess the quality to put some real pressure on that Shadows net. And yes, the Shadows are known in the RF community for their defensive stature and their defensive posture and the ability to hold leads, and they showed it well there as well. But what remains to be seen is what happens if the Merlins go 1-0 up and hold that lead for a minute or two as well, because then the Shadows will be drawn out and will be forced to attack, which is not always their forte.
Yeah, definitely not. But I have to say, from what I've seen so far of the two players I'm a little bit more unfamiliar with, Flux Deadly and his counterpart in Jonesy, both of them a possession, very different qualities. ZW drops quite a hilarious chat. I'm not sure if you can see that on stream, but that is a gorgeous bit of sportsmanship. And still, as much as the tensions can be high in the BFBS Pro League, and as much as people really want to be putting their best foot forward to win every single game, you do also have Club Penguin on Octane profile pictures and wonderful messages such as that to alleviate any and all tension.
Yeah, I do want to make it clear. Yes, there is a fierce inter-service rivalry between the Army, Navy, and the Royal Air Force. But it is just that, a rivalry. You know, a competition, professional rivalry, shall we call it? But when we do meet in person, there's always nothing but love between all three services. You know, at the end of the day, we work together. We do a very important job together. So when we do get the chance to blow some steam and compete, it's always going to be fierce. But it is nothing but respect and love to all three services and all their players. And moments like that from Logan, just to break any tension there might have been between the two teams, are wonderful. I'm not sure if you did see it on the chat, but that is Logan in a nutshell for you, making awesome jokes like that.
Lovely touch from Jonesy as he scarpers round two, and Ishak's there to bounce as well. And that's going to be a wake-up call for the RAF Shadows. They just lingered a little bit too slowly in the defence there. LW caught backwards and no imminent charge forwards. Sort of exposed that gap. The British Army Esports Merlins quick to pounce.
And so the Merlins present the scenario that I just spoke about. They take the lead, and if they can hold it now for a good minute, whilst keeping pressure on the Shadows net, I think we'll see the Shadows begin to take a few more risks and open up a few more gaps for their fort in their own defence as Asher plays aggressive, beats one. Jonesy bumped into a clearance almost. Ishak, wonderful beat now, as Logan will have some work to do. Ishak looks to thick in field, he shot the near post, and Flux Deadly doubles the Merlins lead, and it's just what they needed after going 1-0 up. The insurance policy now is there, and if they can be simply solid, this one could be running away from the RAF Shadows.
British Army Esports Merlins have sort of found themselves on the boil right now, and that cauldron is at fine risk of bubbling over at the moment for the Shadows. They haven't found a single opportunity so far, let alone a strong bit of possession in this first minute 30, and they are the series leaders at the moment. Tides well and truly have turned as Flux Deadly combines there for a pinch downfield. That one's off to the backboard, and Jonesy's looking a little bit awkward and does just about catch it and push it back into safety in the corner.
Yeah, I don't think anybody of us expected that absolute fling from Asher, just launching it back where it came from. As we approach the halfway point in this game, the Merlins will be definitely the happier of the two sides, having shown real improvement. Now, Ishak one-on-one with Asher, just unfortunately just launches at him. I think he had a lot more time than he maybe thought there, Psycho. He could have done a lot more with the balls. When you consider Ishak's skill level and mechanical ability as well, all the time, maybe he just needed the comp. Maybe he just missed that little bit of information that's so important in times like this. But still they come forward. Still they search for a third. Asher takes a demo there from Jonesy. Flux eats the second man as well. Asher, with some work to do, respawns, chooses the right half, which of course now, if you were not aware, you can choose which side you spawn in after a demo, which has certainly changed, I think it's fair to say, Owen, the way that demos now work in the game.
Definitely so, and I've been wishing to give it a go myself, but I haven't found the time, Stelios. We're too busy hosting giant tournaments such as this for your viewing pleasure, but yeah, it really is spicing the game up a bit, and I do have to say, I like it. I think it's a positive change, but nonetheless, one thing that has not changed for Shadows is their deficit at the moment, trailing by 2. Still, no real threat posed. Asher's backwards and needs to try and push this one to the side. Does so very nicely with that first touch. As Asher once again charges forward. Look how deep the Grey Man and LW, though, are at the back, and when you're 2 goals down, surely you've got to start thinking about playing a little more positively.
BFBS Esports hosting big tournaments for your viewing pleasure as Flux Deadly makes it 3. An important 50. Actually, 50's 2 Shadows players there. Jonesy at the near post, showing some real strength and solid IQ as well, just to put it across the face of goal. And there was a Merlin's man to make it 3. And I do think now, even with still a minute and a half left, I do think this is game and set, not quite a match yet, as we shape up potentially, Psycho, for our first game 3 of the season, our first decider of the season. And what better 2 teams than for it to be, other than, you know, the Shadows, for me, a very special roster and a clearly up-and-coming Merlins, or is it? Or is it? Still life left yet in this Shadow side. Logan into the empty net after some fine work by Asher, who crafted that one all on his own. And it's 3-1. It's not over just yet.
You hold your horses, Stelios. You hold your horses. I mean, RF Shadows, they were quick to force British Army Esports Merlins to buck there. It's very, very awkward indeed at the backboard. Nobody there to make that crucial touch, that crucial clearance away. It's looking a little bit closer than it could have been as Jonesy tips that one high off the ceiling. LW to drop that infield. And it's really awkward for that last man. Ishak's up for a double commit. Grey Man with an open shot that just goes whizzing on by. No contact found, no boost whatsoever for the Merlins, but they're clawing at hope and they're steering that ball away.
That would have been the moment. That would have been the moment if it found the back of the net, but it didn't. And instead, it's Flux Deadly for the Merlins. Can he make all but sure? No, but Ishak will just keep the ball where it needs to be now. Wonderful work as well to set up the chance. But it was, I think he went over the top of the ball there. It was a real effort, a real chance to make it 4. Instead, into the final 10 now, and the ball once again where it needs to be for the Merlins. 5 to go. It's surely done and dusted now. The Grey Man will launch the ball into the centre of the penalty area, but it is too little too late, even if it does find the net, which it does. And 3-2 the scoreline finishes. But importantly for the Army Esports Merlins, 1-1 and our first decider of the season.
And by far my favourite profile picture of the Pro League that I've ever seen for Asher. Give it a good look if you can. British Army Esports Merlins, though, making quite the statement in Game 2. Bringing us down to match point, or series point, should I say, here in series number 2 of the evening. And these are the series that really matter, Stel, when we look on paper and we sort of think about the progression moving forward to that Swiss stage. I think everyone looks at these matches and they think, well, the elimination games are the ones that really count. Just make sure you qualify and that's it, job done. But you want to set yourself up for a good matchup in that first game of Swiss. I think the seeding is oh so important. And this sort of midfield battle we've got, RF Shadows, Seed 5, British Army Esports, Seed 5. These are the games that really, really matter.
I think it's worth also pointing out there, Psycho, on a bit of a side note, maybe a bit of a comedic relief note as well. You have showed your age in Rocket League, shall we say, with the comment about Steam and about the Steam profiles, because of course the broadcaster and indeed myself are also on running on Epic, which of course, for those who don't know, only came in the free-to-play era, in the open era, shall we say. And you know, If you can't see it, it's because you don't have a Steam account. So there you go. You're showing your rage there, Owen, a little bit.
Yeah, I totally am. But we are just going to have a quick restart. I do believe the players are a little hasty to ready up. And I do believe if our wonderful producer behind the scenes, Jonah, goes into the spectate mode, he can actually mess around with the timers of the game. I think we're just going to restart it all together, make sure everyone's all good to go. But moving into game 3, Stel, I think it's really important to sort of set the scene here. I think RF Shadows, like I alluded to, are that more defensively natured team, and they stepped into that second game on match point or series point, looking like the shyer of the pair. They were looking like, you know, they had less to give, and I'll be honest with you, Stel, it's beginning to worry me a little.
Well, you know, as you will know for sure in your experience in Rocket League, the hardest game to win is the one to put you over the line. And I think the RF Shadows suffered a bit on that note there. And now, though, could also work in their favour. The pressure a little bit off them now, I think, having lost that game. And all they can do really is improve on that performance. So the way to do it is to start positive, get some nice early touches on the ball in this decider. Make sure you're not going through any nerves, shall we say, and just find a teammate. They are subbing in Kurt, and I think that is going to be for Asha, I believe. We'll find out in a few moments. Oh, no, maybe for Logan, which would mean Kurt lines up with the Grey Man and Asha. As far as I can see anyway, that might change. And what does that mean for the game? Well, the Shadows have that in their locker, Psycho. They can change the dynamic of how they play with rotating their squad, and they've done it for so many years now. As that great effort from Jonesy almost finds the back of the net. Will it pay off for them this time round, though? We'll see.
Yeah, it's awfully close to the shot of the day so far. And I do think that tactical change might have just been done from the ping issues that I think Logan has been experiencing, as more than once now I've seen him just suffer a little bit, and it can hit you at those really sort of game-defining moments, and you don't want that reason outside of your control to be the reason for a loss. But I'm sure there's other factors at play as well, as now Kurt is going to shy away from this. Let Asher hoof it downfield. Grey Man for the redirect, almost found, and Kurt back towards the target, and it's a devastating blow to the defense of the Merlins. What more can you say, Stel? It's just textbook from the Shadows.
In the words of Rio Ferdinand, this is what he does. Kurt will find the back of the net from absolutely anywhere on his day, and seemingly on his first game of the series, first game of the season, his shooting boots are well and truly on, which from a Shadows perspective is exactly what you need in these early moments of a deciding game. And Deadly's touch there is a bit of an awkward one, but dealt with anyway by the Merlins last match.
As that ball shuffled out wide, Flux Deadly's very quick to poke it back infield. That's 2 orange players gone though, and Jonesy lefties dove for that commit, but Flux Deadly very quick on the rotations back and boost as well. Great bump from Grey Man. Finds the boost as well and tries to play the ball in field. It's the wrong choice there, and I wish he would have drove towards net, but it's still positive signs for a Shadows side who last game looked entirely different.
Yeah, they started off nicely this time round. That early goal was a real nerve settler, as Kurt, shall we say, with Flux Deadly. Ashad can only flick that back towards Ishak, who beats 2. Good play, but I would say the danger man of this Merlin side, whenever he's on the ball, I think the Shadows are giving him a lot of respect and a bit of worry, shall we say, and which is unironically the opposite of what you want to do against a player that you deem to be the threat on that team. You want to be shutting them down as early as you can, but that's an awful double commit there from the 2 Merlins players, and it will result in possession here for Asher, who takes it onto the wall now. One touch off the right left-hand side wall. Dangerous second and third. They find the reset, no, but gets the fake, and the Grey Man's follow diverted away well by the last man there from the Merlins, who survived that particular round of Shadows' attack.
Shadows have completely changed. I think all of my criticism during that 60-second break, they've shut me up very quickly about it, because this is a brilliant step forwards from the Shadows now, but Ishak still has a chance to do some damage himself, and that is the player to watch. 1700s Merlin's talent of old for the British Army esports side. Almost able to get past that defence, but Asher is there to hoof it forwards. Maybe a shot, a shooting chance rather, tipped away by Flux Deadly. And half the game gone now, Stel. And BAE's Merlins, dare I say, picking up a bit of momentum.
They are, and if not for a vital touch from Asher, that would have been a certain goal. And the Grey Man lurking upfield with no boost. Brave, but smart play from the Shadows veteran. At this point, it's fair to call him. Zishak will rotate and get the boost. And it's a dangerous moment now as that shot off the crossbar and away. And still, the Merlins come and still they attack. Jonesy clashing with Asher. Good 50 by both of them. The Grey Man infield it goes. AFK, potential disconnections, but they'll play on regardless. I guess this is competitive play. It has to happen. The Grey Man and Asher double committing, which means the net will be temporarily open. Can they knock it goalwards? They can. It's going to fly off the post into the bottom left. And the equaliser for the Merlins.
1-1, and that is such a sad way for the ball to be put in. Now, unfortunately, it is going to have to be played on. 1-1 is the affair. This team in blue has so much to do now. Double kickoff, very aggressive given the numbers disadvantage on the pitch. Ishak to go all the way, gets 50'd away, blocked by the Grey Man. It's now a race against time for Kurt to reappear in the lobby. It's a good shot towards target, but saved away. Flux Deadly now with the 1v1 situation to his name. Flick above the crossbar, and it's easy, comfortable work towards Asher.
And they're still going for it, even 2v3. And what a moment this will be if they can bag a goal. The Grey Man rises for it, just needs to put it onto net and rotate away, I think, which he does. Asher will rotate to the back left now, needs a bang and does get it. And Flux Deadly has all the time in the world just to bring it away now. 50 seconds to go. A goal here for either team, even at 2 vs 3 for the Shadows, will make them favourites. And of course, a goal for the Merlins is going to make it very difficult for a Shadows comeback. But Asher looks for a flick. Flux Deadly now with a potential open net. It's off the post and away. And Kurt re-enters the game. I think you have to go through the authentication process as well, which will add a few seconds, inches seconds, which they do survive on. But the chance for Flux Deadly, can he find the ball on net? No, he can't.
And somehow Shadows have held on as Kurt now back on the field, hoofs it towards the backboard. What's Ishak got to say in response to that threat? Shuffled away to the corner quite comfortably. Only a few seconds left in regulation before we find that devastating overtime, as often it can be. We saw basically a goal emerge from zero, as now one last chance for Flux Deadly over the crossbar. Asher needs to find the ground and does so. What is this kickoff going to spell, Stel?
It's going to spell danger for the team that loses it, and it will spell danger temporarily here for the Merlins. But Flux with a depthy clearance and a boost and a deadly bump as well. The chance here, shoots at the near post. Shot equal to it, and the Grey Man and Kurt rise for it. Kurt ends up leaving it for the Grey Man. Kurt beats one as well. Can keep the momentum here to centre. Will rise for it. Shooting opportunity here. Oh. Great save. And in the first overtime of the the first deciding game in the BFBS Pro League Season 2, it goes to overtime between the Merlins and the RAF Shadows, and they bag the win. The Grey Man with the vital goal.
I cannot believe that is how the series ends. RF Shadows, a two-man affair for the best part of a minute and a half in that game, if not more. Full credit to the defense, and the way they came forward and stepped out the gates just off the back of that disconnect was with aggression. I saw a double kickoff and I was thinking, what are these guys doing? And they stepped forward and they absolutely nailed a strategy there, Stel. Whatever happened, it worked a charm.
You can't help but root for them, though, there as well, managing to survive the disconnect and still coming out victorious is absolutely criminal work. But all props to them for it. And we said this was going to be one of our closest games, and it did not fail to deliver in, quite honestly, cinematic ways we could not have predicted happening. But yeah, what a crazy turn of events. Now, we do have more series coming up. We are not long away from our next one. We've got the BAE Sparrowhawks versus the RAF Mustangs. But we're going to head to a short little bit of a break to get that game ready, to let you two catch your breaths after that absolute mayhem. We'll see you guys for our next match very soon.
I'm Dan Penter.
My name is Mark Langton.
I'm Peter.
My name is Staff Sergeant Richie Rees. My gamer tag is Chief Lid.
Gamer tag is Pete P Gaming.
My gamer tag I play under is SG_Reaper.
My gamer tag is Max Chat. I think the thing I'm looking forward to most as part of the UVG is actually meeting new people. There's a lot of veterans out there who haven't been connected to gaming.
Meeting fellow veterans and playing with fellow veterans, that's what I'm looking forward to do.
So just staying part of a community. So when I was in the RAF, I was part of the RAF esports, so we did a few meetups during that. I'm looking forward to keeping that going with the veterans and expanding it, talking to the other services, which I didn't really do too much of.
We've started with a core of about 60 people that some of us knew, and as it grows every week, new people turn up, and I love meeting new people and getting to know them and gaming with them.
The thing with veterans is we understand each other.
I'm looking forward to being part of the UVG because for me, as a still serving in the British Army at the moment, is setting that stepping stone for individuals who do eventually leave the services, and looking forward to what UVG can offer them as a gamer, if they are a gamer, or even if they're not a gamer. It's just the community that is offered to them from UVG, where, you know, as a serving soldier who, you know, taking that transition into civilian street is quite hard. So for them, having that community where you've got ex-servicemen, ex-servicewomen, for them, they can then look at those communities, and it'll be hopefully make that transition easier for them.
I think the biggest thing that UVG will do for the veterans gaming community is to connect veterans through gaming.
Speaking with other veterans, that's the main thing veterans need to speak. We have a very thing that I am the big man and I can handle it, but we speak to each other. That's going to help our mental health.
See, I think UVG can offer a lot for veteran gamers.
But it's going to bring a lot of people who haven't really got that online social aspect. Through a lot of mental health stuff I've been through and done, and I think that's going to be a massive thing for a lot of people who don't have no one to talk to.
It's not just all about bringing gamers together, it's the events that can go on. They can bring a lot of the veteran community together, which gives them opportunity not just to sit in their homes, they can come out, meet each other, you know, put a face to a name.
Finding this group of people who can understand what they've gone through, understand how they talk, is going to be a massive thing.
For anyone wanting to get involved in UVG, find us on Discord.
Hope you didn't miss us too much, because we are back and we have got a banger next series coming on up. We are seeing a repeat of a team that we've already watched today. We're seeing the BAE Sparrowhawks back in action. They're going up against the RAF Mustangs. Now, Stelios, I believe you got a little confession for us about the RAF Mustangs, don't you?
I do, and the confession is that the Mustangs are actually our second newest roster, and literally I think a couple of weeks old. And on that, I have not yet seen them play. I've only heard whispers of their performances in scrims behind the scenes. And for context, they did scrim the current RAF Storm Shadows Action, Reedy, Samez, and G-Word the other day, and managed to take a fair few games of them. I think they took 3 games off them, and actually as well, 3 of their losses came in overtime. And that is currently the roster that leads the way for the RAF. So this Mustang side, nothing to be messed with. But for me, as a Rocket League game lead for the RAF, this is quite an interesting one to see how they'll perform here on their first time on stream.
I'm looking forward to seeing it now. Psycho, You've done a fair bit of coaching in your time. Would it be fair to say?
A little bit, not as much as this man to my right. He's the one you got to shower
I
praise
know,
for
but
that. But you know what? I've done
I've
a
got to ask
little
you
bit.
a question now. I've got to
I've
ask
done
you.
a little bit.
I'll ask that one. Now, if you were coaching the Sparrowhawks today, you watched their game earlier. What would be the one thing? Because you can't fundamentally change too much. What would be the one thing you'd say to focus on, just to keep in their mind in the forefront a little bit heavier coming into this match?
Well, I think in that first series we saw, they were fundamentally outmatched on an individual level. And of course, you have to really adjust your play style where when you think that you're going to be losing every ball on outright pace, and you're going to get beaten to those higher balls, quite simply. And really what you have to do is keep that third man really nestled back, make sure they're really deep rooted on the field, because it becomes a lot more manageable and easy to clear that ball away and filter it forwards. But then you also need a layer of disruption as well to sort of get in the way and just frustrate your opposition. Make sure they don't have too much possession in the play as well. Maybe go for those bumps and demos in the midfield when you're getting swamped in the attack. Try and play on the counter a little bit more. And it's so difficult to fundamentally, put yourself forward as the team in control when you're in that position. You just have to play a tactical game and sort of weather the storm.
Now, you talked about disrupting the opponents. If I'm not mistaken, the one and only Deromus is going to be in this next match. And is he not the king of disruption, Psycho?
Well, we know a thing or two about Deromus, and he's a good friend of mine. And he does like to get in people's heads, and he really does like to play sort of that almost villain-esque character. You run into him, he's not afraid to let loose in the quick chat, get in your head, and really make it difficult for you. But what he does have is oodles of passion towards the game, and he is hungry for a win. And if there's one thing you can guarantee about Deromus, is that every time he takes to the pitch, he wants to win it, and he wants to win it bad.
Steros, anything you want to add on the Deromus front here?
He's a passionate guy. He cares about the game a great deal. He puts a lot of effort in. And he took a risk by leaving the RAF Shadows, which is, of course, his long-standing roster of about 2 to 3 years. And for him, it was a big risk to take. Obviously, the Shadows have adapted well with Asher and Logan coming in as signings, and they're playing well. But for Deromus, he did take a risk by leaving the Shadows. And now with Napsy and Halves they in this game, and this roster right now with another sub as well, going by the name of Dav, they have a good thing going, and I know they've been itching to get experience on stream, and they haven't been quite able to do it. Just yesterday, for example, they beat the RAF Hurricanes in a token match, an internal ranking system in the RAF Rocket League, which means they now take them into 6th place. They're climbing fast, they're building momentum, but doing it on stream, as I'm sure you'll all agree in the chat, and of course yourself, Psycho, and even of course you, Infinity, as well, you'll know, doing it on stream is an entirely different task.
I think that you overestimate my ability to play any game to a level that people are watching it. I specifically avoid. But anyway, I think that's enough about me. That's enough about us. It is time to look forward to the game, and I'm going to once again leave you wonderful people in Psycho and Stelios' hands.
So as we alluded to, the British Army Esports Sparrow Hawks. We've seen them before. I think Series 2 of the day, up against the Kestrels and the new fresh faces in the RAF Mustangs. Now, on paper, I think it's fair to say this is a little bit more of a one-sided matchup again. RAF Mustangs coming into this match as the 3rd seed overall. And I think to a lot of people, that's going to pose a massive shock, because you look at the RAF sort of hierarchy. They've got Typhoons on top, you've got the Nighthawks, you've got the Storm Shadows, and then there's a little bit of a gulf, a little bit of a gap between the competitors to follow up. Mustangs are trying to assert themselves as that new kid hot on the block in that 4th spot potentially now. Really looking to make an impact here, Stel.
They are, and what a way it would be to win their first game of the BFBS Pro League Season 2 on stream, of course. On this momentous occasion, Napsy already combining and looking for Halves on that right-hand side. Misses a touch. Napsy comes across. 0. Deromus, near post, flicks it dangerously across. Alimov clears Vortex, lets it run, and Napsy now has a chance to bring the ball away for the RAF Mustangs, who are just getting accustomed to their environment.
Yeah, Vortex has really been the standout performer of that series for the Sparrowhawks. And I think, honestly, on paper, he is the weakest player in this lobby. But it doesn't matter what the paper shows, because he had so much to bring to the table in terms of the disruption and getting down the field with pace, putting himself in positions to be dangerous, downfield and in defence as well, as Napsy is going to go twice above the backboard, can't find power on the shots, and gives Daryl Zero a chance for a little counter-attack.
It's a real press early on here for the RAF Mustangs. They're making chances, but as of right now, the Sparrowhawks are making light work of some of these shots. They had a couple of scrappy moments, but they seem to have settled a little bit now, the Sparrowhawks, and a chance of their own, flashing dangerously across the face of goal 10. And Alimov being demoed by Napsy, which breaks the spell of pressure, and he just takes out Zero as well for the fun of it almost. And now the Mustangs can build from the back, but that one, as far as Zero, who bangs it high, it's awkward, missed by halves. Napsy gets there. Thankfully for the Mustangs, there will be a shooting opportunity there for Vortexer as he plays it back towards Zero, who looks to build again. Daromus forces a double commit, and one more chance thwarted away by the demo from Daromus.
It's a lovely high clearance from Stephen Andrews, as Ali Mov now is going to try and do it all by himself on Zero. He's done a stupendous job of it, as now two at the back. Looks a little bit uncomfortable for the blue side, but they've whittled it away to the side, and a gorgeous pinch from Zero towards the corner. Who's going to be next in line? It's Ali Mov to chip that ball high. He doesn't really have options to aim for in field, so just has to let that one go by.
Another double commit for the RF Mustangs, maybe feeling a little bit of nerves. The Sparrowhawks doing phenomenally well here to stay calm and to build attacks of their own, and I think slowly it's fair to say that at the moment they are the team that's looking a little bit more threatening on the pitch. That could of course change in a moment. Here comes Zero, 1-on-1 with Daromus. Good 50 by Daromus. Napsy just takes control of the ball, collects the boost as well, but it goes towards the middle of the penalty area dangerously. It was missed by Daromus. Halves towards Daromus. It's off the back ball. There'll be a chance here. Through goes Napsy, but he's shot, miss-hit, scuffed away to his left-hand side.
No boost in the tank for Vortexer, and is forced to retreat, as now two at the back with very low numbers indeed. Ali Mov, 0 to his name. Vortexer equally so. Grabs the 100 in the corner finally. Gorgeous little reset from Daromus off the backboard, and has somehow almost backflips that one towards the goal, and it's really paid off.
You can see what he was going for in that mechanical play. I think he tried to get a first-time musty reset, and to be fair to him, he pulled off something like that, and it ended up being an impressive series of touches from Daromus, and it ended up freeing up the shot from Napsy, and they've gone for a kill strike straight off the bat as well, searching for a second. But at least for now, the Sparrowhawks are surviving, and they just need to take a moment to chill and reset themselves, because I think up until that point, I believe they were looking a bit more of the dangerous side, I think it's fair to say, Psycho.
Well, you have to excuse me for my silence. I was just taking in the scenery there, as Daryl Zero was really close to making it 1-1 just moments ago, but Ali Mov to push forwards towards net. Napsy with a miss himself. It's going to be a shot on target, and it's that player once again, Daryl Zero. And as much as I've been quiet for the best part of the last 30 seconds, he's going to get that crowd roaring.
Start as well to Alimov. I mean, he played a massive part in that attack. That glorious first touch, which forced the error, forced the commits from the RAF Mustangs. And the Sparrowhawks in it now, but up comes half off the ceiling. Zero gets there. Vortex are looking for the clear. Daromus intercepts, so Napsy reaps at the near post, and Zero can take the boost, take possession of the ball. Daromus leaves it for halves, fakes it, misses it, whatever you want to say. Alimov loops it high. Zero tries to beat Napsy. Vortex are there. To the right hand side now, 20 seconds to go. Will there be one more attack? Daromus rises for it. Star, and the rebound from my halves, or as you will see on the screen, Stephen Andrews makes it 2 with little time to respond now for the Sparrowhawks.
It's a confident pass over the backboard and an easy clean-up finish for that man, Stephen Andrews. What a pleasure it is to see the new RAF talents emerging. Haven't been able to see Napsy or Stephen Andrews myself in action, and they have shown that they have quite some quality to their name, as now this game is pretty much all wrapped up. Of course, best of 3 length, there is still more to come in this series.
You know, Psycho, I do have a confession. I don't know where the name Stephen Andrews comes from. I mean, the way we know him in the RF server as iHearts, that is his name. His name is Harvey. I'm not sure where Stephen Andrews comes from, and I might have to ask, to be honest, so I can get some clarity for the stream. So I'll do some background research on that for you guys. But for the Mustangs, not the easiest of first games for them. I think it's fair to say a lot of Sparrowhawks pressure. They could have had way more than 1 or 2 goals there. They created, but they couldn't finish, Psycho. And on that, the Mustangs will be delighted with coming away with that first game with a win.
It wasn't a confident win, I'll be honest. It did look a little bit challenging for the Mustangs, and they are coming into this game as absolute favourites, it's fair to say. So full credit again to the Sparrowhawks for being able to be so confident against an opposition that on paper is so much stronger. RAF Mustangs, though, ultimately victors in game 1 as cars roaring up once again for another 5 minutes of action.
Napsy kicking us off early here. Oh, it's a miss, and
whoa!
To make contact with the ball. You can see his intention. He knew there was a RAF Mustangs player. You could see the Romus on the left-hand side of his camera, steaming in and lurking. He tried, he did the right thing by going for the ball, but the contact, unfortunately, is not what he wanted. And an unlucky moment. The decision was right, Psycho. I think it's fair to say that the decision was correct. The execution, not so much.
Just imagine our wonderful producer behind the scenes, Jonah, reacting to my whoa in probably exactly the same way as I was thinking, as that shot's put towards target, the real 0 towards the 100 boost, and Vortexa to clear away on the counter attack, but there's just no numbers in front of the ball, no firm contact found. Deromus now back on target. That one sifted nicely towards the bottom left-hand corner, and the RAF Mustangs 2 goals up very early in this game.
And you can really tell when the whiffs have stopped. They've calmed down a little bit now. They're maybe familiar with their surroundings here on stream. Of course, their first time, and they're looking a bit more dangerous, a bit more like their MMR might suggest, as Halves comes up the field, looks infield towards Napsy, who lets it go, takes the boost, and a lovely catch at that as well. Can he find the Romus infield? He just waits and pushes into the center. It was a creative play, wonderfully done. No goal at the end of it.
You'll never believe it. We've had another disconnect. That is Stephen Andrews gone. 2 versus 3 time once again. The Shadows proved they could do it earlier. The Mustangs might just be proving it again, but he has rejoined in a timely manner this time around, thankfully, for the Mustangs. That's a nice demo from DeReal 0. Some forward thinking to get something going, but he's left this ball a little too long. Has to play catch up. Vortexa at the back line's well positioned for the threat, but the shot just goes whistling on above him.
And he may have disconnected, but there was certainly no disconnect between the ball and his car there. It was a wonderful finish, just looped in towards that crossbar. And you can see, you know, if the ball doesn't go in, it's still rolling across the line. We've just got to get something on the end of it. But thankfully there for Haas, it found its way into the back of the net, snuck in. And once again now the Sparrowhawks have some questions to answer. Vortexa launches it downfield. Napsy just sees it calmly to the bottom of his car, finding Halves. Back towards centre it goes. Napsy rises for it early, and Vortexa able to take advantage of the missed shot. Oh, on his car. Super flick from Vortexa. His team back into the game. Only 2 to recover now, and it was wonderfully done.
Now, never did I think I'd see a turbo flick pulled off at such a high-stakes game. Vortexa the one to squeak it on through, and it's in good time as well to give the Sparrowhawks a little glimmer of hope, as once again they look to threat. Alimov couldn't quite get an extra touch there, and Vortexa, look how close he is up the field, hungry for a goal, and is just disregarding those back lines because they want a second stealth.
They do, and they quite right. You should be hungry for it, because taking advantage of the momentum that you do have is vital in Rocket League. And right now, they'll be feeling confident, especially Vortex are having scored that wonderful flick as he comes forward again, takes the ball in his car, looks for the flick a second time, but not Thor, a Mustangs player saving it, and they're going for it. Alimov charging at the ball in the top corner, somehow saved, and they're almost looking to buy his team some time to recover and just stall the momentum somehow. And what a save from Vortex for keeping them alive.
Definitely man of the hour for Sparrowhawks as he takes the ball to space, confidently flicks it forwards and has a chance to maybe go for a bump, steal the boost, disrupt this defence, but Stephen Andrews clinging on to it as they are their 3-1 lead. Comfortable control downfield, catches that reset to pop above last, and Daromus up very quickly as that ball settles down in that far corner.
Stephen Andrews, or I Halves as they call it. Oh, it's a very awkward double commit there, but it worked in their favour. The shooting opportunity was presented to Alimov and the shot was on target. Instead, it's I Halves. They find what would be a ceiling goal. No, and Daromus' shot swatted away by Alimov, and here they come again. Vortex will take the boost, demoed though by Daromus, and momentum halted once again.
Stephen Andrews prods it up high and nobody's going to respond to it from the blue side as they hunker back and wait for that chance to counter. Alimov with 0 boost, but they don't know, they're none the wiser, and Vortex are up so quickly. So just keep those chances rolling, get that rotational shape and perfect fluidity. Here comes Alimov chasing that corner, plenty of boost to do so as well. They need a bump, they need some sort of threat or just a magical touch, but there's no numbers in the middle, and still, dare I say, that was a wide open chance.
Was, and you've got to gamble. You've got to gamble in that scenario. 3-1 down with a minute to go. You know, if you lose 4-1 or 5-1, it really means nothing. Have I just seen that correctly?
It's second time. 3 times the charm, not if it's in your own back net, but keep it at 2, please. Vortex, oh, it's a painful one for him, but he's been fantastic all series long. I just hope that doesn't affect him too much still.
Hopefully not. He has a nice goal on record in this series, regardless of the result anyway, which he can be very, very happy with. It was an incredible flick. But, wow, that's the wrong time, unfortunately, for him to be putting that one into the back of his own net. But they're still coming forward. Vortex is throwing himself at that one. He's going to want to recover. But when you are coming off the back of a mistake like that, you don't want to overplay. You don't want to try too hard to make up for it. It's incredibly important that he stays calm and just fulfills his role for the remainder of this game with plays just like that, looping it dangerously on the net. I Halves deals with it. The follow-up from 0, not enough. And it might be too little too late now for the Sparrowhawks.
Yeah, unfortunately for Sparrowhawks, they needed this series. At the moment, it looks like they're going to be eliminated at the end of this group stage still, unless they could pull out some miracles in those last 2 series, which they jolly well might. But RAF Mustangs, at the end of the day, it's a sweep for them on the cards. They've extended their very strong form so far today, Stel. 2 wins, 0 losses for Mustangs. Make that 3 on the trot now. And they were the third seed coming into this particular competition. And well and truly deserved, I feel.
Yeah, crazy scenes coming out here. That glimmer of hope that we had. And we did see some individual brilliance coming on through, which, you know, as we said, this is only day number 1, isn't it? There's still opportunity. There's still time. We've still got plenty of opportunity ahead of us. But it is one of those difficult ones for Sparrowhawks to maybe swallow. But it is not without its silver linings. However, that is one series done and on to the next. We're about to head on to series 4 of 5 today. RF Harriers versus Royal Navy Serpents. And now we're going to see 2 brand new teams coming into the fray here. But as we have done for all of the previous games, we're going to head to a little bit of a break first to get that match ready. And we'll see you guys very soon.
Good enough can cost you the game, so stop settling. Wifinity is built for real life on base, so you can game without compromise. Posted somewhere new? Take your Wi-Fi with you, no hassle. Get fast, reliable Wi-Fi with Wifinity. Use code BFBS50 to get 50% off the first 3 months.
Boo, did we scare you? We came back early as a surprise just for you people. We didn't want to keep you waiting for all of that time. We're ready to get into our next match. We're ready to keep the energy going. We've got the RAF Harriers versus the Royal Navy Serpents. Now, Stelios, this time I'm going to throw you a curveball. Royal Navy Serpents, tell me about them.
Well, they've got a few players that I recognise. The main one is Runes. Runes has been around, I'm pretty sure, for a hot minute in Navy Rocket League.
25 as well in our Pro League lap.
Good spot, and a man of many talents, clearly. And in Rocket League, I know he's been around for a while, and a good player. I'm glad to see him back. I think if I remember correctly, he took a pretty extended break. He's a name that even my co-IC for RAF Rocket League, Cedric, is aware of as well. And I think actually friends with, because they both also played F1 at some point. I might have that wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's accurate. He will be the one that my eyes are on for this Serpent side. I'm quite fond of the Navy as well. I've been a fan of how they've grown their Rocket League network over the last year. And a massive credit to Dilza, who's been putting in a lot of hard work. I think he's bringing on Mateo as is almost his deputy for Navy Rocket League, and they've been doing some really good work as well. So for me, Runes is the one that I'll have my eyes on in the Serpents team as their sort of star player.
And now, the RF Harriers, Psycho, you got to do them justice. And Stelios, you can tell us how accurate he got this. Psycho, talk to me. Who are the superstars here in Harriers, or they're coming into this as a little bit of an underdog?
Yeah, so for me, the Harriers are a little bit of a mystery, and I have to be honest with you, Stel, on that one. Charlie Sierra is the lovable name that everyone in that roster is going to be familiar with. An absolute legend within the RAF esports community.
Good at Wordle as well.
Not
give you that for free.
Not just for the sake of his own Rocket League credentials, but my goodness, he knows. He knows how to do his job well, that's for sure. But alongside him, a few question marks there. I say Spen coming into this, I believe, are hovering around GC1, and R Youngie to round off that roster. And again, a player that I've not seen myself before. Maybe a little bit lower than Spen. I think Spen coming in as the top-rated player in this one. But ultimately, I think it's very, very well-rounded. And just the series, generally speaking, is as well, because we've got the 8th and the 9th seeded teams in this matchup. So on paper, this is going to be nail-bitingly close.
Stelios, is there any insight, any internal information that, well, now that we're about to watch them play, that you can maybe leak ahead of the game? It's only going to be a couple of minutes. So I'm sure you can give us something to work with here, right?
Yeah, of course, for you keen viewers of the BFBS Pro League, sure, why not? Why not? What I can say about this Harriers side is, again, one of our newer rosters, but I have a bit more of an idea about them when compared to, for example, the RF Mustangs, who, for me, that was a first viewing. And for Charlie Sierra, who will be known as Connor with 2 X's for an O, in this game, is an intelligent player. I think he's one of the, on paper, lower ranks of this Harriers side. However, I've always said he plays well above what his ranking actually is. He's a smart player, almost like a Logan of this Harriers side. Very intelligent in how he plays. And alongside him, Youngie and LC Spen. Well, LC Spen, as you quite rightly mentioned, GC1, a real talent. And I think he will be the one that will be the source of the threat and the flair for the RF Harriers. It's whether they can put it all together to make a cohesive unit for their first time on stream in this Pro League season. That remains to be seen. I think they can do it, but against this Serpent side, who are, they're not going to make it easy for them. As you quite rightly said, seeds 9 and 8, it's going to be evenly matched.
Who knows? Maybe we see another game go overtime. Maybe we see another decider match, but we will have to find out. And the only way we could do that is in the server. Speaking of which, it's ready to go. So I am going to leave you once again with Psycho and Stelios to take away our penultimate match of the night.
Well then, we've had today's affairs flooded in RAF derbies, battles with the British Army esports, but this time around, we're taking a trip to wet waters. It's Royal Navy, and their time to step up to the plate. The Serpents taking to the stage, I believe, the third best Royal Navy team on paper, and boy, are we excited to watch this roster. And as Affinity was saying herself, Runes 18, we're used to seeing this face so far in BFBS Pro League Split 2, or Season 2 rather, after they performed so well in the F1 Championship. And I do believe we're crowned Royal Navy Esports Player of the Year for F1 25. An amazing accolade, and it seems he's a man of many talents.
He is just that, and he'll be looking to do this. I mean, I guess it kind of translates, right? Rocket League is still driving a car somewhat, so he will have some translation. Of course, the aerial controls will be different. You can't fly an F1 car, but I'm sure he will try to in the next season of the F1, if there is one, of course. Runes, there he is, trying to combine with Galaxy Reaver. Connor just bumping aggressively there, and again, removing the first man and second man. It will free up Spen here. Chance for center. Runes gets the clearance only as far as Reese. And Reese is shot off the crossbar and away, and Galaxy Reaver now will try to relieve the pressure here for the Royal Navy Serpents.
Spen, that one to watch really for the Harriers, gets beaten in the corner as our Youngie very far deeply rooted at the back, and a nice little attempt off the wall there. This Galaxy Reaver now does nab that 100 boost, and Spen's going to be a little bit awkward, although I don't think he looks it by the looks of that shot. Very close to the target there.
Some more fun facts for you. I am very sure that Spen and Reese, going by the name of Youngie, have a lot of chemistry playing 2v2. Now, that can be a blessing, and it can also be a curse. If you don't really scrim and don't practice threes that often, I mean, I'm sure you'll agree, Psycho, but if you don't, please let me know. Twos is not always the be-all and end-all. Yes, it's an extremely important part of Rocket League, and in fact, most pros do play 2 versus 2 as their primary game mode, but only because that is supported by hours and hours of 3 versus 3 scrims. And I think they have been working hard on playing together as a 3 in all 4 of their rotations as a roster, which hopefully will translate to a good performance here. And so far, it's as predicted, an even affair, almost a cagey, nervy affair. Not many chances between these two sides, and the first goal will be of vital importance for whoever gets it.
You know what, Stel, I'm not particularly worried, because they've got a wonderful co-IC by the name of Stelios to bash them into shape and make sure that they're scrimming and playing together as much as they can. And so far, they're looking pretty clean, dare I say, but Runes is going to have an attempt towards the target. Saved away by Spen, but it looks awkward for the last man of 0 boost in net. But Runes now with a very nice interception.
You can tell, really, Sonny, you can tell that both these two teams are just waiting for the other to make the first mistake, and Connor a bit awkward there, but he's recovered remarkably well and links up with Spen. Spen now looks to fake Galaxy Reaver, which he does, and beats second man. Spen still on the ball, pitches past the third as well. Will there be a shooting opportunity here? No, because Galaxy Reaver just smacks the ball away quite simply, but Youngie will turn on it, centers again. Runes left awkward, but Runes with a vital clearance.
Lovely touch out by Galaxy Reaver, and here comes the chase from LDK, or Ladelk as they are in this game. It's a great shot by Runes, could have been the first of the series as they're going to swarm round again. It's a whiff from LDK and Runes goes high. And there simply is no numbers left to put that ball towards target. Now the counter-attack potential off the charts for our Youngie, who finds the backboard, but no meaningful space to come from it.
Drama at the RAF Harriers goalmouth, and the Navy Serpents would have been itching to put that one into the back of the net for the opening goal of the game, for the opening goal of the series, which could have been a real momentum swinger. Instead, there's a few double commits now from both these two teams who are beginning to feel the pressure being cranked up. And there goes Ben. Galaxy Reaver awkward. The shot! With the goal! Left. Vital timing. It's your first blood.
Gorgeous touch from Spen as well. Just to the right-hand side of that far side post. Finds the space for his teammate. And Connor, such a reliable player, I come to find. And for someone who individually you don't look at and think he's got all the mechanics under the sun to play with, he certainly knows how to play a smart game, and his fundamentals are truly, truly special stuff.
The Logan of the RAF Harriers delivers a sucker punch to the Royal Navy Serpents. Like we said, he plays with his mind, and it was a great finish, just placing it gracefully into the top left. And now what do the Navy Serpents have in response? Not a lot of time here to work with. 20 seconds to play. Spen beaten to it by LDK. Connor will rise for it. Knocks it down. Runes is there waiting. Trying to play Serpents for one last throw of the dice, but Reese just says no, not that time. Connor will cut in wonderfully well, and again, good macro play from Connor. It's going to bounce awkwardly though. Spen has to deal with it. With the floor. It doesn't. It's hanged up again, dangerously above the Harriers net. Youngie fakes it, and the Harriers land first blood in this best of three.
Oh, and it's quite a harsh landing though, isn't it? For the Harriers, who kind of looks into this game as being very, very equal to their opposition. Definitely proving of that, because that was not an easy game whatsoever. Ultimately, Charlie Sierra or Connor on your screens being the difference maker in game one. But boy, was it tight.
Really was. It really was. And there was a couple of moments for the Royal Navy Serpents where they should have had either a goal or a more promising shot on net. They made the openings. And I think one thing that the Harriers are doing very well is Connor is being a very awkward first man for the Harriers. He is constantly cutting. He's constantly looking for bumps. And it's really making the Navy Serpents awkward on the back line, to the point where they're almost stacking up against each other at the back post, and they're searching. They're almost feeling a bump is coming. And in that kind of mindset, you begin to lose focus on the task at hand, which is clearing the ball away or controlling the ball. It becomes a lot more of a difficult task, and that is full credit once more to Connor and his ability as first man to free up the space and time for LC Spen and Reese to link up. And in the end, it was, of course, that Connor sucker punch to now leave them in this position of their first series point of 2.
Yeah, it's an important match, this one as well, because we're looking down the pecking order in terms of the seeding. And of course, the top 8 teams from today's group stage will be pushed forwards towards that Swiss stage. And these are the teams that are going to be eyeing up that potential spot to qualify through. And it could just be a series like this that ekes it out for them. Hopefully, for the RAF Harriers' sake, they can do it with some goal difference behind their sails as well. That's a lovely infield touch. Runes for a demo. Connor blast that ball away, though, and say bye-bye to that attack.
Youngie, infield pass, wonderfully taken. And Connor combining with Youngie off the right-hand side wall. Beautifully taken. It wasn't an easy shot either. That was quite some distance away from the back of the net. And what a finish it was for 1-0.
Absolutely so, and I guarantee you that Adam Young in the chat is going to be going ballistic in support of this man who's put away a very, very crucial goal in the series for the Harriers. That ball moves dangerously in front of the goal mouth. There's going to be a follow-up surely. Spen to the opposite side of the pitch. 0 boost in the tank, has to concede. But Youngie is there once again, and Galaxy Reaver just has to let it go. The numbers at the back are strong for the Blues, and plenty of boost in the tank.
Galaxy Reaver caught wrong side of the ball here, and it will mean a chance for LC Spen, but Runes using all of his experience there and all of his will and strength just to not touch the ball as it flashed across the face of his own net. Wonderfully done, but you can see now the Harriers putting on more of a press. They know a second goal here will not quite kill off the Royal Navy Serpents, but will significantly deflate them. And Connor with an incredible read, but a chance here for LDK into the left corner, and the Royal Navy Serpents lift off 1-1.
Connor's done so well to dig that out off the crossbar, but the double commit haunted the defence. And unfortunately, it's a small mistake, but it's costly. It's a great shot to match, it has to be said. Now 1-1 affair, and you're saying in that first game, Stelios, that everyone's just sort of waiting for each other to make what could be that crucial mistake. And we've seen a few of them. That wasn't one. It was a difficult shot and hard to steer towards the target. Another threat comes through. Runes cannot keep it off the goal mouth, and Spen is going to extend the lead for the Harriers.
I feel for them, I really do. They've worked so hard to get back into the game, and you can see the slightest bit of miscommunication with the player coming across the face of Runes there, maybe put him off. And the ball trickled, and I mean trickled over the line there as LC Spen beats it towards Reese. And the flick over the bar, and LDK will bring it away. Youngie cuts aggressively though, and it was a brilliant cut at that. Forces Galaxy back into his own penalty area. Good as well by Connor. Up goes LC Spen. Runes with a good 50. LDK puts it on towards net. Runes cuts and fakes, and does get a successful fake as well. But Connor taking his time and bringing the ball away for the Harriers.
Smart fake by Runes, and I was impressed that it almost worked out in his favour as Spen's going to just poke that ball up high. Smart positioning now from the Royal Navy Serpents, but Runes has got a big gap exposed towards his far side, and that's a dangerous situation. Zero boost in the tank now for Runes. Where is that support? LDK all the way hunkered back deep on the pitch, and I just wish they started to step forward with a little bit of urgency here still.
They need it. They need to almost start thinking about throwing caution to the wind and just going for it, because playing this defensively minded is not going to give you a clear chance at the Harriers net, who, to be fair to them, have rotated brilliantly in this game and just kept the pressure constantly inside the Navy Serpents half, suffocating them, but still they're alive. Still the goal difference is only one. Still they come forward. Galaxy Reaver hands on net. Spins it just over his crossbar. Wonderfully done.
Wonderfully done indeed. Galaxy Reaver now is going to leave this one to Runes, or is he? As the ball comes dangerously across the goal mouth, somebody needs to get to grips with this one, and Galaxy Reaver opts for a soft touch to keep control downfield. Wise play from the Royal Navy Serpents as LDK has almost faked forwards with that step down the pitch, but no boost to equal the threat that came. It's just going to be a war of attrition here in the corner. Who has that boost advantage? Definitely the Harriers at the moment, but LDK with plenty of control.
Great challenge by Connor, and infield again it goes towards Reese, and we've seen that combination on more than one occasion result in a goal, and it pays off again. A good early challenge as first man from Connor, and Reese nice and close, nice and aggressive at second. 3-1 now for the RF Harriers, and they look in charge of this one, and it needs to happen soon, if at all, for the Royal Navy Serpents, who've clung in there. They've made a few openings, but I think Psycho potentially suffering from being a little bit too passive in game 2 here.
Maybe so, but there's also some big gaps in the defence, and I think just wide rotations, generally speaking. I wish they would just tighten it up a little bit, almost feel a little bit more claustrophobic in front of net, and just make sure somebody is going to be close to the play. As they're now trying to play on the counter, they have to disregard defence altogether and just focus on a mode of operation in attack as our Youngie hoofs that ball downfield. LDK to loft it high, and Galaxy Reaver just patiently waiting to get that ball downfield, but nobody there to follow through. Still, it's an open shot for LC Spen, who's found that right-hand side. Done very well indeed.
Did it wonderfully as well on that first touch, and knew potentially as well, maybe the comms were there, that they were low on boost. There was a couple of them that really had nothing to get off the ground with, and that's where you need to start looking at taking pads and looking at your pad lines on your way back from rotation with no boost, because, you know, if a couple of them had a couple of pads, it would have changed that attack for sure. Instead, pretty much game, set, and match now in these final seconds of play for the RAF Harriers, who have been superb in their first appearance on stream, and they'll be delighted with that performance as well. And as I think you may now agree with me, or feel free to disagree as well, but Connor having a standout performance as well for someone who is typically around the Diamond 3 Champ 1 mark. I said he plays above his rank, and I think you can see there he's proven it alongside Sven and Youngie, who have been brilliant in their performances as well.
Definitely so, and I think ultimately for the RAF Harriers, that is just going to be giving them a little bit more confidence. Currently, they're sat in 4th in their group, 6 teams per group for tonight, so they are actually in a position to potentially qualify through towards the bottom end of that Swiss stage. Now, Royal Navy Serpents, they're going to be looking from the outside saying, I wish we were just that little bit closer, because they are out of the running at the moment. And RAF Harriers going to be overjoyed with that performance.
Overjoyed indeed, and who can blame them? It started good and just exponentially built from there. And this is just early days. There's still plenty more to come. But talking of what is to come, we have one more match for the night. I've got to check in with you guys. Vibe check real quick. How are you both holding up? How are you enjoying being back for Rocket League?
It is an absolute blessing. I'll be honest with you, Affinity. I've been waiting for this moment ever since the end of that grand finals from last year. And you know Rocket League's got my heart. But my goodness, this community does too. And the amount that it's sort of grown from strength to strength is truly, truly impressive. And speaking of, I believe the next series, 2 Royal Navy teams to cap off the stream. Last year, this time, we would have been saying it would have been the first and the second team. That's all they had to bring to the table. This time, it's the 3rd and the 4th. They've doubled their numbers stepping forward to the BFBS Pro League Season 2. And I cannot wait to see what they've got for us.
Stelios, what about you? What's it like being back, buddy?
What's not to like? I mean, it's for me, as someone that's been doing, you know, casting for 3 or 4 years now, it's a privilege. It's a privilege to be back on the BFBS Pro League stage, shall we call it?
I think you've accidentally muted yourself, Stelios.
At least it's not just me. If it was just me all day long, Affinity, I would have been in tears by the end of this. I'm glad that, you know, Stelios in his infinite professionalism is trying to make me look better than I actually am.
Feel better about yourself. Don't worry. We will continue to relentlessly mock you after this, Psycho. But it is going to be a bit of a time for a break. We're going to fix some mic issues. We're going to fix that last match right up for your viewing experience. And we will see you all very shortly for our last match of the day.
Breakthrough, I don't wanna make do. Take two when I'm thinking of you. Straight loose when I'm sinking a boost. Two-way thinking of blue places that I'm gonna take you like. Breakthrough, I don't wanna make do. Take two when I'm thinking of you. Straight loose when I'm sinking a boost. Two-way thinking of blue places that I'm gonna take you like. Corona and sick, too lit, trying to flow like frizz. I'm lit.
We have one last match tonight. We have a Royal Navy derby coming up. The Royal Navy Serpents versus the Royal Navy Hammerheads. Sort of a land versus sea going on here. Now, who are we favoring? I need one of you to pick one team. I need one of you to pick the other. I need a champion for both sides. So who's going to do it? Who's going to take the underdogs, the Hammerheads?
Oh, don't put me in this position. I mean, the
Psycho
thing is,
has agreed.
when you ask two coaches, it's so hard not to get an objective answer. But we're here for a good show. I'm taking the Hammerheads, and they have some real celebrities on their lineup as well.
Go on.
And I did
Who
get
are they?
to see them in the inter-services as well, fortunately. William 200115 on the roster, it seems, but the big dog in the house, Dilza T, the Royal Navy esports lead for Rocket League. Absolute legend of the community and has done so well in advancing these Royal Navy teams over the course of the last year or so, attending event after event after event, and they have given it their all through, I think a lot of people would say, some of the most adverse circumstances that are faced within UK Armed Forces esports. Of course, the nature of deployments and such with the Royal Navy does really harm, a lot of these teams and how long they can stick together. They've managed to deliver 4 teams, and it's their third and the fourth that you're going to be seeing today. And I really, really hope they're going to show us a real fight.
Stelios, you've been left to champion the Serpents. Can you give us some fighting words for them? Who to keep an eye on? Who is going to shine in the Serpents today?
It's going to be that man Runes again for me. I was pretty impressed with also Galaxy Reaver in that last series against the RAF Harriers. But for sure, Runes, he needs to be the one to step up here. And I think with a bit more aggression from this Serpent side, they can do some damage here to the Hammers. Of course, they are favourites, but doesn't always make it a guaranteed result, as we've seen here tonight already. I think they just need to go for it and pull a lead as fast as possible, and be as dominant as possible, and just give the Hammerheads absolutely no chance. And yes, on that note, I do also want to shout out the Navy as well in general for the progress that they've made. I mean, we said it earlier, but Dilza has done a phenomenal job. And it's not just a thing for the game leads. It's a two-way street. His community are buying into it. Yeah. And we're about to be treated here to a great ending series.
They are indeed. We've got to always champion these sort of superstars in the community that are sort of the leaders. Anyway, I am going to throw it over to you because I believe the game is already starting and we don't want to miss a beat of the action.
Well, that's Affinity's best impression of Rap God for the day done and dusted, and I'm hoping there's going to be some godly efforts on the field as well. As so far, LDK towards the corner. Just trying to stretch out the defence. Breezy Macker, I've not had the pleasure of seeing before. This is a complete fresh face for me. Galaxy Reaver, of course, from Royal Navy Serpents last game. I thought they were a real highlight as well. You mentioned Runes potentially as being that favourite, but I think it was a real team effort last series. And I think for this one, we're going to get to start to see a little bit more about what they're all about.
We will indeed, and it is worth saying, it's not often that you see a wild Dilza or BT Taylor on the pitch. You know, usually so busy and raising the profile of Navy Rocket League. It's nice to see him take some time to compete as well, as ultimately we're all gamers here. We all want to compete, and it's nice to see. I can relate to him in that you don't often, as a game league, get time to compete. But when you do, you take full advantage of it, and he's doing so representing the Royal Navy Hammerheads. But it is in the early stages, as we thought, with Runes and co in the Serpents, taking a step on the front foot, but so far no joy in front of net.
Ooh, almost a massive fake by Runes. Galaxy Reaver's going to try and tuck it in, and does so as the defenders left stranded. They're just picked apart by Runes there, and Maka was in two minds. Do I stay or do I go? As the famous song goes, he should have gone.
I've had to just mute the mic there to chuckle a little bit at that one. That's impressive. Psycho, well played, well played. DT Taylor coming off the right-hand side corner. Galaxy intercepts. William taking his time. A lot of numbers, by the way, in that name. I wonder if there's a story behind it, or if the game tag he wanted was just simply taken. Not quite sure, but hopefully he can reveal the secret. DT Taylor with a vertical takeoff there, mirroring a performance takeoff from a Typhoon. That was quite something. Didn't make contact with the ball though. LDK instead will just press the ball back into the Hammerhead's corner, and Runes retakes possession of the headed clearance.
Dylan Taylor, of course, the 99, representing his age. 99 years old. Incredible performance given the circumstances. Of course, I completely jest. He is a sprightly character on the field, as he does take with a bit of aggression downfield, launches that 50-50 towards the back lines, and Galaxy Reaver's going to have to really bend and stretch to try and find that touch. Booms it downfield, and Williams got no targets to aim for, has to try and do it all by themselves as they lift that ball high, make it really awkward for their opposition. Here comes the follow-up. Here comes Dylan Taylor himself. Smashes it home after that drop down off the woodwork. Gorgeous.
He watched it well. You know, he had to come from a long way from the halfway line there. Recognized at the right time that the ball was going to be missed by the third man of the Royal Navy Serpents there, and had a long way to fly, a long way to miss it. Again, it's not always easy when the shot is so straight. You can easily just deviate to either side and knock the ball away. But Deals are leading by example for the Hammerheads. And against the run of play, it may be fair to say that they won't care. They have an equalizer, but will they keep the lead of the equalizer? Almost no, but they survived that time.
I have to say, this is probably the most tense match we've seen all day long. It is incredibly tipsy-turvy. You don't know which way it's going to go, but you enjoy the journey. And Williams going to press forward with 100 boost in the tank. Dylan Taylor pushes that ball to the left-hand side, grabs the 100 boost for good measure as well, as they set themselves up for future success. Or is there going to be a thorn in their side? The omnipresent Runes to squeak in a second.
I tell you what, that was almightily close to being blocked by the Serpents, by the Hammerheads player there. I think actually it was Maka who almost made contact with it, but milliseconds matter in this game. And it was Runes, he was slightly quicker, who had his Weetabix in the morning. Somehow lost him all day, to be fair. I mean, that's a lot of Weetabix he must have had. And, well, they take the lead again. I think at the wrong time as well for the Hammerheads, realistically, because they were just beginning to look a little bit comfortable, shall we say, at the 1-1. But they've been made to pay for a lapse in concentration. It's Galaxy Reaver looking for a shot on goal, with William booting it downfield where LDK awaits.
As this clock ticks on down, so does the hope of the Hammerheads. The lowest seeded team in this particular competition. And really showing why they deserve to be in the conversation. William going to try and stretch up for that ball. Doesn't quite find contact. Galaxy Reaver towards the back lines. Finds the backboard. Finds the bump on Dylan Taylor. The disruption and the rapid rotations wrapping around for this orange side. Runes back in once again. Where is that midfield support? Not going to be found after that defender throws it on away.
And it will be Maka inside the Royal Navy Serpents half, maybe going for one last throw of the dice. Deals it on low boost, needs to get some pads. Instead, flicks the ball away where William was waiting, but he can't recover the car. This will spell danger. Galaxy Reaver tries to flick, and Maka had no choice really but to play for the miss there. Instead, it is Runes. One more shot on the net, and with 2 seconds to play, the lead extended by 2 now. And it's game at 1, done and dusted here for the Royal Navy, the Royal Navy Serpents, who are my team that are meant to be championing. And do you know what? I do want them to win. Some small part of me wants to go to your side. It's like, okay.
Come on over to the dark side. We're supporting the Hammerheads here in the booth, potentially, but Royal Navy Serpents, full credit to them. They were able to find those pockets of space. They were deadly when they were given the space. And Runes 18 is that star man at the moment, just like you alluded to in the pre-show. every single time he gets a shooting opportunity. It's hit, and it's hit with pace. It's in the right direction, in the right place, at the right time. 108, I think, that last shot, and 102 for the other one. Something along those lines. Really, really deadly finishing for the Serpents, and they're taking every chance.
And so the stage is set. Is this the last game of this evening's action? It's been a pleasure to be joined by you all wonderful BFBS Esports viewers. Massive shout out to everybody, of course, behind the scenes at BFBS, responsible for making this wonderful event happen for a second time. And I'm sure the LAN finals are going to be electric, just as electric, if not more so, than last year's wonderful grand final in Staffordshire. These two teams may not be bidding for a space in next week's final just yet. I'm not mistaken, I might be saying that, but they'll be encouraged by just getting some experience on stream today, and will look towards Qualifier 2 now to make their mark known on this tournament. A lot to be positive for as we get the penultimate series, the game of the series on the way.
Absolutely, and I do believe statistically these two teams are eliminated. They are playing for pride, and they're playing for the experience on such a stage. And how rare is it to get an opportunity like this to show your stuff, as Galaxy Reaver is almost going to squeeze that one past the last defender. And Maka now with 100 boost as he turns around to grab it up. He's just a little bit isolated in the corner here. He's got two teammates behind him on the flank. Dylan Taylor's going to have to be careful not to overstep. Chooses his time wisely, but no contact found. And Galaxy Reaver dances round those last defenders.
I was going to say, the way he took that first touch, saw that William committed, and just knew he had to avoid the slight bob there and line up. I think it was Maka as last man. And he's done it well. He executed it perfectly in a reverse kickoff, I think. Ends up being won by LDK, and it does fall to William with a bit of time, but it just gives it straight back to Runes, and Galaxy Reaver rises for it. LDK with the shots in towards Galaxy Reaver, flashes across the face of goal, and touched away nicely by Dylan.
On the side, William is going to have to do it all by themselves. They've got 23 boosts to work with, and I'm not sure that's quite enough for a Fiesta, but he's got something going in the corner. As Dylan Taylor has just pushed a little too far. Maybe that's going to be a second. LDK to follow through. Clean up the missing pieces of the jigsaw puzzle. And it's 2 goals to the good for the Royal Navy Serpents.
Oh, no. You wanted to see the ball stay out the back of the net there. You wanted to see the Hammerheads alive in this game a little bit longer. They'll be by no means dead. There'll still be life in their engines at the moment, but if not for an almost perfect display, you struggle to see a route back into this one for them, but they'll still go. They'll still try. Galaxy Reaver challenged by Maka. Great 50. It's dangerous, but Runes will deal with it. Up goes Maka again, staying aggressive, staying even with limited boost in the right side of the ball, in the right place on the pitch, but it's a bit of a miss, and they overcommit again, and the shot as far as Runes back into the mix, and 3-0. And they're going to find it very hard to, even for the most optimistic of Hammerhead fans now, to find a route back into this one as a whole. I think it's pretty dire for them now.
Yeah, and I think there's still a little bit of hope left for the Royal Navy Hammerheads to show what they've got left in the tank. They might not come away with a victory, but let's face it, both of these teams are eliminated from today's competition. It's all about how you shape yourselves up for that future weeks to come. Of course, this is only one community qualifier of 4 we've got running. 4 community qualifiers into 4 main event Swiss stages, into 4 playoff positions afterwards. And these teams are only just on the beginning of their journey still.
True, plenty of time to make their mark in the tournament. And I do, whilst we are here, I want to take my hat off to you, Owen, as the rule writer for Season 2. And what a fantastic rule set, what a fantastic format you and the team at BFBS have produced for this Season 2. Swiss, a lot of players, in fact, pretty much all the players, at least from the RF perspective, other than the ones that like the recent AFBI, won't have experienced what a Swiss is like. So for a lot of players across all 3 services here, and indeed, of course, for the SCA Dragons and other teams playing it's going to be a lot of firsts for them, a different kind of pressure, a different environment to work in. So I need to give you your credit, your props. I tip my hat off to you for the phenomenal job you and the team have done on building an exciting format for Season 2.
Oh, mate, you've got me blushing. I know you can't see my face, although you can if you tab out quickly enough. But yeah, no, this is an absolute blessing for us, because this time last year, this wouldn't be possible. There wasn't 16 UK Armed Forces representing teams coming forwards. 20 this time around is the number, almost doubling what we had from last year, and it opens up so many more opportunities for these talents to rise and shine at the brightest of spotlights. As Galaxy Reaver now is going to try and play this ball forwards, gets a lovely lofted touch towards the corner. Runes in hot pursuit. As William now just on that front post gets faked out, and Dylan Taylor's just about seen that ball away. And that was so close to a dreaded triple fake. And there's one specific Rocket League player by the name of Finnet who likes to take screenshots of cars in the most unbelievable of positions. That would have been one of them.
What can William do? Can he find one at least for the road? For the Hammerheads? No, not that time. Maka will take the 50 anyway. Galaxy Reaver's tucked away to the right-hand side. Dylan, awkward 50 back. Now the Hammerheads can build one last attack here for their qualifier 1 run. Maka, infield it goes, actually gets a beautiful tuck, but it's too far for Dylan to do anything with it. Instead, it's Galaxy Reaver bringing us into the right part of the pitch for the Serpents. Can they find another for the road? No, they can't. It hangs off the left-hand side ball. Up goes Runes, down goes the ball, and the Serpents get their win. And for the Hammerheads and for both of these two teams, it brings their run in Qualifier 1 to a nice, wholesome end.
Yep. And that is going to be it for tonight. And we've got to say commiserations, of course. There's only so much that you can do when you're down like that. But want to give huge props there to every team that took part. Not everyone got to have a victory on screen today, but I want to thank everyone who has joined in, because, of course, this is only the first of the qualifiers. There's still plenty more action, plenty more time for these teams to shine and to adjust. And sometimes being in the spotlight, a little bit nervous, these things start to stick up a little bit. It's only day one. But yeah, congratulations to everyone who even participated. It's been an absolute joyride, really. But we do have a leaderboard for you, so you can see how everything's shaken up, because, of course, there's been off-stream matches going on. So let's take a little bit of a look at how everything is sort of shaken up here. I'm going to ask you guys, anything standing out here?
I think for me, it's a little bit unexpected at the moment in Group A, the way that's shaped up. RAF Shadows coming in as number 2 currently, and that last game result still to come through. And you can see how comfortable they've been. They are the 5th seed overall, beating out the British Army Esports Merlins. Completely hook, sinker, or whatever the phrase is. They've done it. They're ahead of them. Hook, line, and sinker. They've done it. They have got through in that second place position, and full credit to them. But on the other end, dare we glance towards the Lozzie Phantoms, who are in 3rd. They've played 5, won 3 of their matches, and that is almost a legacy team out of Scotland, the home of the Royal Air Force Esports up in Scotland, and they are on fire, it seems. So that is definitely one to point out for me as well.
Stelios, looking at your RAF teams, anything you want to say to the boys as, you know, sort of a champion of RAF Esports?
Incredibly done. A great showing from all RAF teams there. Even for, of course, you can see Tornadoes end up finishing last in Group B, but they have literally just been promoted from our development team into an official RAF roster after some very good work. So they should hold their heads up high and look forward to qualifier number 2. And for the rest of the RAF teams, I believe they all finished in qualifying positions. Yes, they did. So it's a brilliant day for us. A very proud moment for me, of course. And getting to see the Mustangs. Harry is on stream for the first time. That impressive Shadows 2 versus 3 as well. What a great day. And not just to the RAF guys as well. You know, seeing some old faces and some new faces for the Army teams and for the Navy teams too. Things are looking up. Things are looking like they're developing across all 3 services, and it's a great place to be right now overall.
Things are looking absolutely spectacular. But as we said, it's only day one. Thank you for being our day ones here in season 2 of the BFBS Pro League with Rocket League going on. But Owen, when's our next broadcast? Give it to us, because it's not just one. We're going to have weeks where we've got multiple days. When can we next look forward to seeing some Rocket League action?
Well, Rocket League action coming to your screens live next Wednesday. Same time, same place. BFBS Esports on Twitch and YouTube. All the links you can find in this wonderfully prepared graphic. But we're going to see you there for the Swiss stage. It's going to be the top 8 teams from today's affairs moving to face the 8 invited teams. Of course, 2 representing the RAF, 2 from the Army, 2 from the Navy, 1 UK Veterans Gaming, and 1 civilian and MOD team. And it's going to be an absolute joy. It's going to be chaos. It's going to be calamity. And we're really looking forward to it.
You heard it here. It has been an absolute pleasure to bring you all of the action tonight. Make sure to tune back in on Wednesday, and we'll have some League of Legends starting up next week as well, if that's more your tune. Or maybe it's equally as your tune. Maybe you like multiple games. Well, welcome to the party. But that is going to be it for tonight. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us, and we will see you next week.
Out here, every millisecond counts. And in here, every millisecond counts too. Never let delays ruin the action. Upgrade your Wi-Fi to Wi-Finity. Use code BFBS50 to get 50% off your first 3 months.